Tribune.
Girder.
Tribune.
Matt M33 gifted a tier 1 sub to RLEIO 501. They have given 251 gift subs in the channel.
Tribune.
Girder.
Ontogeny.
Never not subbed to the best paleontologist on Twitch, Paleo Dance.
I do call myself an expert in dinosaur studies.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass and I'm homebound.
We come to this place for science. We come to paleontologizing streams to laugh, to cry, to show up late and then ask what today's topic is even though it's right there in the title. Because we need that. All of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the surf rock starts. And we learn something we've never known before. Not just entertained but somehow infotained. Together. Baffling images on a tiny computer screen. Sound that I can feel.
Dirter. A dirter is one of those things you get at the end of the paper towels, the cardboard thing in the middle, you go dir, dir, dir in it.
Genus names I can mispronounce.
Tradoon.
Somehow, extinction feels good in a place like this. Our common ancestors feel like the best part of us. And dinosaurs feel like they're still around. Because here, they are. Paleontologizing streams, we make fossils less dead.
Well, hello, everybody. And welcome back to Paleontologizing. It is really good to have you here today. A very happy, what is it, Wednesday to you?
Tradoon.
I hope you're doing well. I know I am. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the new dinosaurs that were just published while I was off doing fieldwork in Utah. So we missed a number of new dinosaurs. We'll be kind of doing a little roundup today, a little catch-up, a little review, I guess. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll also be covering some kind of general paleontology news, too, if we've got time for it. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. If you're here for the very first time, then let me give you an extra special welcome. Like you, Korezi. Hello. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Shoot, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch doing some good old-fashioned science outreach. As a dinosaur paleontologist, I study dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are what I publish on in the scientific literature, what I talk about with the general public, what I dig up during the summers. I just got back last Friday from more than 3 weeks of fieldwork out in the earliest Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation of eastern Utah, working with Jim Kirkland and Don DeBlue and the Utah Geological Survey, digging up a new species of iguanodont dinosaur. So we'll maybe be talking about that a little bit today, but mostly we're going to be talking about some of these other new dinosaurs just published while I was out there in the field, ones we didn't get a chance to cover because of that. But if you have any questions at all during our time here together, whether it's about dinosaurs in particular, which is what I study, or whether it's about the history of life in general.
We have the Tradoon. The Tradoon.
And Monsta, thank you for the 10 months of support. I do really appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for keeping me here on the air for the past 10 months. Whether you've got questions about dinosaurs in particular, or natural history in general, about extinction or evolution, or the very philosophy of science, please do not be shy about those questions. Do not be shy about those questions. That's the whole point of me being here, you know? This is
Tradoon.
science outreach in the purest form that I can devise. So, this is supposed to be an interactive give and take, you know? This isn't a lecture. This isn't a sermon. This is back and forth, a heart to heart. So I'm glad you're here. And would you mind telling me what OBS says your mic is at? You'll have to be more specific, Claire. I don't know what setting you're asking for. But yeah. I can try turning it up on this. Let's see if that's any better. It looks worse to me, based on what I can see here, but let me know. It is better. Okay. I'm gonna have to change the tick marks on this now. OBS updated and kind of threw off all my audio settings. So yeah. But not as loud as it used to be. It's turned almost all the way up in OBS, and this is significantly higher. Turn it up a smidge higher there too. But yeah. Anyway. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah. Although it says that it's peaking here. Maybe I'll turn it down a little bit in OBS. Let's see if that's good. Yeah. Anyhow. Really glad you're here, everybody. Let's see who's here in the chat. Say hello to everybody. Sari Fell says, let's see. No, he is home now. Yes, I am indeed, Sari Fell. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Claire Burr, I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Thank you for all of your hard work with the YouTube channel, Claire Burr. You know how much I appreciate that. Prince Nanerda, I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you, too. Golganek, rar to you also. Glad you could be here, Golganek. Alexander Morrison, howdy, howdy. Yeah. Let's see. Kodali 2010, hello, hello to you. I saw Matt M33 here earlier as well. If I've not yet said hello to Matt. Dinosaur Dave, hello, hello. I hope you're doing well. Boba Binks and User, Not the Brain, Joe Wingy, Saya Sank, and Sandwich Nom Nom, Wildflower, and MS Coggins, Bubsy, and Niffler, Jedi Mega Man, and Sibley. Howdy, howdy. Yeah. And wondering why I was getting an ad with Turbo. Yeah, I've had that too recently, Sibley. I've got Turbo also, and sometimes I still get ads. I think it's just a glitch. Isolated, good to see you too. And Karezi, I'm impressed, Karezi, that you recognized Camarasaurus right off the bat. That is, I gotta say, I'm impressed. A paleo person. Sounds like you're in the right place. Welcome, welcome, Karezi. Later on in the month, we're actually going to be talking all about Camarasaurus. On the anniversary of its description. That'll be next Friday. Provided I don't have other things going on. I might be having to run off to do an excavation this week. Or next week, rather. Tuesday and Wednesday, perhaps. Maybe even Thursday and Friday. We'll have to see, but I'm going to try and be back home in time to stream. Yeah. Fall Machine in Kimaru, Pandora, and Cosmological Kev, Lord Nubalot, and Rakadactylus. Reiko, I hope you're doing well, too. It's good to see you. Yeah. And Alexander Morrison, I'm glad you liked the Mustn't Touch It stream with Jim Kirkland. That was a ton of fun. Even if it was short, it was still a privilege to be able to go all the way to the other side of Cedar Mountain Formation in Utah and stream from there. It was very cool. It was very cool. And Crimson Carnotaurus, this is the same Ceratosaurus helmet that I was showing off yesterday. Same one. Yeah. And let's see here. K Crew K, how are you doing? Master Poe, hello to you too. Napalm Pop-Tart, thank you for resubscribing, by the way. Appreciate that. It's good to see you. Thank you for your ongoing support. We've got Grim Deviant and Haircado.
Real mean kid.
Axeman.
With 6-inch daggers for teeth, he was the terror of his neighborhood.
Lesnar the Fourth, thank you very much for your follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Reese, how are you doing? Hello, hello. And Alioth says you're not reading everyone in the chat, right? I'm trying to right now, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it so far. I like to say hello to everybody at the beginning, if at all possible. So that's what I'm attempting at present. Yeah. Lentus and Camarasaurus. Very funny, Crimson Carnotaurus. With the puns about dinosaur species names. Yeah. Lesnar says, has the Utah fieldwork concluded? It has indeed. For this year, anyway. With any luck, I'll be out there again next summer at the same time. We've got a bunch more iguanodont bones to excavate, so I'm pretty excited about that. We've got our work cut out for us, for sure. And 233 million-year-old fossil. We might take a look at that, Dinosaur Dave. Yeah. Thanks for the link. User consent. Oh boy. You know, we're not going to look at this. I don't know, all these permissions they're trying to do, like, things on my browser. I'll find that in another place. But thanks for the heads up, Dinosaur Dave. And, yeah. And Little Pink Pony says, it's still summer, why couldn't you have stayed out longer? Limited budget and limited time for personnel to be out there. The people who are leading the fieldwork out there, Jim Kirkland and Don DeBlue, they have to pull strings just to be able to go out and do fieldwork at all, since they work for the state of Utah. And that's not technically, like, I don't know. I realize it's extremely important work to be able to go out and collect fossils like that. But they've got a lot of office stuff to do as well. And so there's about a 3-week window every year that they can be out there. And, yeah. Also, school is starting up really soon, too, for a lot of people. And so we rely on a lot of volunteer labor, and we can't have that during the school year. That's a big part of it. That, and we just don't have the budget for it, you know? It does cost a little bit of money to be out there in the field. You know, you gotta pay for fuel and food and everything else. And we just don't have a lot of money for that, you know? But yeah. And Jody Fish says, I'll bet Fisher's just beaming back home. That was a pretty significant find he had going the last day. I think Fisher's got multiple reasons to be happy right now. For one, it seems like he snagged himself a pretty excellent internship gig at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. So he'll be starting there in September, it sounds like, and I'm real proud of him. He earned that, absolutely. So he's going to be doing some fossil prep there between September and November, and yeah, that's going to be excellent. And let's see. Oh, and thank you, Dinosaur Dave. This should be better. Beautiful. Thank you, Dinosaur Dave. Looks like a Herrerasaurid. Cool. Casey Snowart says, what if you could find some dinosaur-obsessed adults outside of the summers willing to camp and get dirty, asking for a friend? That would be pretty cool. There actually is another crew that's going to be working nearby under Josh Lively. Let's see. They're going to be working at Lori's site, also in the Cedar Mountain Formation. And unfortunately, I can't be there. I am expressly forbidden from streaming there. Because last year, they had a film crew there with the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, filming some material for the new Walking with Dinosaurs program. And they had apparently a crazy contract that there could be absolutely zero other media there for like 3 years. And so I could take 2 or 3 weeks off of streaming and take a huge pay cut and work out there, but I don't think you folks would be happy with me for that. And also, I wouldn't be making any money. So I can't be there. So anyway, feel free to send angry letters to BBC or whatever. Don't actually do that. But anyway, corporate bureaucracy. Ugh. But anyway, there will be other people out there digging. Let's see here. I'm trying to find some footage of Josh talking about fossils here, and is that him right there? It doesn't look like Josh. But I'm not used to seeing him in, like, TikTok view.
Hey, USU geology students. My name is Joshua Lively. I'm the curator of paleontology here at the Prehistoric Museum on the USU Eastern Campus. And we want to let you know that we're going to be doing a field expedition over USU spring break, actually March 6th through the 18th. But you can come out as long as you can. This trip is meant specifically for you. the USU geology students. We're going to be going down to southern Utah to Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, and we're going to be looking for marine reptiles in the tropic shale, things like mosasaurs, plesiosaurs. We might even find
That's
some
what
fish,
Josh
maybe
specializes
even a float dinosaur that washed out into the ocean. We're hoping to get as many USU students as we can on this trip. The way to get signed up, shoot me an email down below, and I'll get you a volunteer application. The trip is totally free to USU students, and you can either drive yourself, meet us down at camp.
This is from a year ago, though.
Ride down in a museum vehicle. So let me know if you have any questions. We have more details that we'll be sending out really soon. Thanks.
Yeah, but Josh has always got stuff like that going on. He is... Honestly, everybody who's involved with Utah Paleontology is really, really excited that Josh is the new curator at the Prehistoric Museum in Price, Utah. Yeah. Because he's doing some really awesome things there.
Dig up dinosaurs?
And Shinken Gadsa, thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Holy cow. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well. How did your stream go? Tell me all about it. We are going to be covering some new dinosaurs just published over the past month while I was away in Utah doing fieldwork and live streaming fieldwork. We missed a bunch of new dinosaurs that came out. So we'll be talking about those today. But anyway, first off, I wanted to show you this real quick. So Josh Lively is a paleontologist from Alabama originally, and he landed this curator position at the Prehistoric Museum at Utah State University Eastern in Price, Utah. And he is really revamping that program. He's turning that into a powerhouse of paleontology. It's really impressive to see what he's doing.
Today is Monday, the 3rd of May, and Vanessa and I here are stopping by the Eastern Utah.
This is the guy behind the camera who's talking.
Utah State University Eastern Prehistoric Museum.
Now you can tell he's an expert because he can say all that in one pass. Anyway,
yeah, great museum if you ever get a chance to visit.
Dr. Joshua Lively, so I'm the curator of paleontology.
Oh, the curator. Okay. Not to see, I imagine.
There's that big Utah raptor mount they have there.
Now, I was asking Dr. Joshua here if there's anything really emergent going on in paleontology that he might be aware of. And what I was doing is I was thinking about how physicists came out with variances in the mass of muon, which is kind of like this ultra-heavy electron that doesn't live very long. Much shorter than any of the dinosaurs that we have.
I didn't stream from there, Jody Fish, no.
Joshua is going to give us a little bit of a background, and then Vanessa was going to ask a little bit about
cool,
the museum,
but didn't get a chance to.
On the YouTube channel for you folks while we're on track.
Yeah, so one of the really
these cuts that they have
that came out recently in paleontology, and especially right here in Utah, where we're kind of the hotbed of paleontology.
This is from 3 years ago.
Utah raptor is kind of like startling.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Actually, I'm writing about it right now for our new exhibit.
Anyway, yeah, Josh is a really, really cool guy. If you're anywhere in that part of the country and you'd like to volunteer on a dinosaur dig, maybe consider doing that. But just know that it's, that's hardcore stuff. It's not... You'll be sleeping in a tent every night. You'll be enduring biting insects and, hellish heat and really dusty conditions. And, you'll be pooping in a bucket every day. It's not a posh kind of experience for tourists, That's the real deal. But, yeah. If you're the sort of person who's up for all that, especially if you have some experience in fossil excavation, maybe contact Josh. I hope he's okay with me saying that. But yeah. Backpacking gear ready to go. There you go, Casey. Yeah, seriously, Casey, you should contact Josh and ask about that, because he needs some good people to volunteer. He's got a bunch of good people already, but he could always use more,
Dinosaurs hold a special magnetism for children.
They do.
I need to dig in my yard hoping to find what I'm looking for.
Alright, Wombat Hole, best of luck with that. Thank you for sticking around here for the past 18 months, by the way. I appreciate your ongoing support. It means a lot. Thank you, thank you. And there you go, Christy Zartnook. Well, I hope you've got some hydrocortisone cream at the ready for all those bites. Post that last video? You bet, Claireburr. Sure. That was right here, I believe. There we go. Anyhow. Let's go ahead and, get into some of our fossil news, shall we? Without further ado, we've got a lot of new discoveries to talk about, including some brand new dinosaurs just published over the last month. So, let's get into it with some fossil news. Well. Our first story today. Oldest ever dinosaur fossil found in Brazil. Thank you, Dinosaur Dave, for posting this. We're getting into something that's new. And then we'll kind of move backward a bit and talk about some things that have happened over the past month. Casey Snort says, I was wondering about this. So excited to hear you talk about it. Oh, yeah. So, I haven't actually heard about this yet. I've just hit the ground running when I got home and haven't had a chance to really read a lot about a lot of this stuff yet. But this looks to me like a Herrerasaur. The thing that you got to understand, first of all, about the earliest dinosaurs is that they all walked on two legs. They're all thought to have been carnivorous animals. And so this kind of reflects that there. This fits the bill for one of those earliest dinosaurs. Here. The as-yet earliest dinosaur that we have, the as-yet earliest undisputed dinosaur that we have, it's a critter called Eoraptor. It's not a big dinosaur. The first dinosaurs were not large. At least not by dinosaur standards. And this one's from about 230, maybe 235 million years ago in Argentina, from the Esquigualasto Formation, from the Valley of the Moon in Patagonia. And so while this critter was alive, it was a small predator. So probably eating little mammal-like critters, little sauropsids, maybe eating insects and other arthropods too. And then in turn, probably being eaten by some of the larger creatures in that environment. Critters like Saurosuchus, which is very much not a dinosaur. This is an ancient crocodile relative. And it's a big guy. This was maybe the largest terrestrial predator ever at the time that it lived. Here it is chowing down on a Herrerasaurus, which is an early dinosaur. So I say all this just to make the point that dinosaurs were not the big dogs on the block when they first evolved. They were kind of in the middle of the food chain, I suppose. Well, not middle of the food chain, but, you know, they weren't huge yet. So yeah, that's Herrerasaurus being chomped upon by a Saurosuchus there. And that looks pretty similar to this critter.
Game of paleontology.
Aphotic Soul, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. So a 233 million year old dinosaur fossil, thought to be the oldest ever discovered, has been unearthed in Brazil. And all that because of torrential rain. The heavy rain eroded parts of a known fossil site, revealing the dinosaur's fossilized skeleton. The almost fully preserved dinosaur fossil was discovered next to a reservoir in the state of Rio Grande do Sul in southern Brazil. Scientists think the animal lived during a time known as the Triassic period. They don't think, they know. Like, shoot, it's like... Scientists think that the sky is blue. They know it's from the Triassic. Like, that much is immediately obvious. Oh boy. This period lasted from 50.5 million years, and it was just during this time that dinosaurs emerged. Researchers believe that the fossil belongs to a member of the Herrerasauridae family of carnivorous dinosaurs. They grew to about 2.5 meters in length and had 2 legs. It's among the oldest in the world, Rodrigo Muller from the Federal University of Santa Maria told Brazilian media. It's already important because of the role it's likely to play in helping us understand the origin of the dinosaurs, Dr. Muller added. Brazil has received a lot of rain over the last few months. In June, the state of Rio Grande do Sul, where the fossil was uncovered, received 3 months' worth of rain in just 2 weeks. Paleontologists who study dinosaurs, well, paleontologists study fossils. Dinosaur paleontologists study dinosaurs. They're now racing against time to unearth the remaining fossils in the region as, now they're uncovered, more heavy rain could destroy them. A leg bone and a pelvis bone discovered at the site have already been destroyed by the floods. Shoot. Let's hope they manage to get the remaining fossils out soon. This is interesting stuff. And I guess this actually came out a little while ago. Here it is in Live Science. July 31st. The team claims that the dinosaur, which is not yet formally identified, is around 233 million years old, and it's a Herrerasaurid. There is some debate whether Herrerasaurids actually are true dinosaurs. And Von Krokenbusch, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. But yeah. Hazanku says, I guess get wrecked, paleontologists who study plants and bugs. I know, right? As a dinosaur paleontologist, I try and be as non-chauvinistic as possible about that. You know, I work on dinosaurs, but not everybody who studies fossils does. In fact, the vast majority of scientists who study fossils do not work on dinosaurs. So yeah. Let's see. And we've got a video here? Well. That's interesting. It's so green around there. Huh. Pretty cool. And yeah, this is not like typical conditions for digging dinosaur fossils, I'm gonna tell you. Beautiful preservation there. Holy cow. This is wild to see bone that's this, you know, distinct from the rock in the sense that, like, they're very, very different colors. This is very photogenic. A lot of you know that while I was streaming this summer from the field, I could put the camera right up to some of those fossils, and some people in chat are like, I can't see it. Where is it? It's like, you really kind of got to develop an eye for this, because it can be subtle. In this case, that is a stark, like, black and white difference. That's impressive. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, that must be a drone shot that they've got right there. Yeah. But man, really intense erosion going on. But I bet you if they were to dig in here, they'd find so many more skeletal elements, like probably multiple skeletons throughout here. This is going to be a place to watch. That is really cool. Yeah, and just right there on the shore of a reservoir. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Huh. Look at that bone. Beautiful preservation. That looks like a scapula right there of some kind of critter. Although, no, that could be a caudal chevron. There's a phalanx, which is a finger or toe bone right there. And then that's them putting together a proper jacket. Field jacket to get those bones safely out of the ground and back to the laboratory. Yeah. Nice. And look, they're right there next to a town. Not every dinosaur site is super remote. So I'm working on it in the laboratory there.
Dinosaurs
very cool.
A special magnetism for children.
And Dilophomasnoris, thank you so much for the 18 months of support.
Fishing when you're in Green River, UT. There's excellent fly fishing around there.
Dilophomasnoris, goodness, it's been decades since I've been fishing. I didn't go fishing while I was out there, but Matt LaManna did. He took a day off to go fishing with his wife at Flaming Gorge near Green River. Near Green River, Wyoming, sorry. Yeah, there's a Green River, Utah and a Green River, Wyoming. They're both on the Green River, but it gets pretty confusing. Anyway, yeah. There we go. Flaming Gorge is beautiful, by the way. Just a gorgeous place. Yeah. But I'm not really a fisherman myself. Yeah. Anyway. And Wombat Hole says erosion. What is it good for? Exposing dinosaurs, I guess. Oh, yeah. Erosion is at the same time the best friend and the greatest enemy of the paleontologist. Erosion is how we find fossils in the first place. Because erosional processes expose the bones, but they also destroy bones, too. So sometimes you get really, really lucky where a bone is just starting to poke out before it's been destroyed, and then you dig in and there's a whole skeleton in there. It's rare, but it happens. But much of the time, you discover a site and erosion has already done its thing to expose it and already destroyed half the skeleton. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like most good swords. A large number of green rivers throughout the U.S. That makes a lot of sense, Spartan. Yeah. But, yeah. And let's see here. Hex Iced Coffee's got a question. Did humans live with dinosaurs, and did the aliens help them? What do you mean aliens? Kidding, but seriously, why is this an actual debate constantly? It's not. The debate, there's no debate about this. Here, I'm like tempted to be a little bit snarky about this, but that could get clipped out of context. So, I'm not going to do that.
This is the horizon, which marks the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Andromeda Creates.
Below this
Thank you for the raid.
Out in here, there are dinosaur fossils.
Welcome to Paleontologizing.
Above this level, on these rocks, there are no dinosaur fossils. So I'm actually standing on the level that marks the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Andromeda Creates.
_creates and their 8 raiders have stumbled below that level. Let's talk dinosaurs.
Let's do it. Welcome to the channel. How did your stream go? Hope it was really good. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. And thank you, Dinosaur Dave, for the 350 bits.
There's a little present for you lying in the driveway. Oh, boy,
Yeah.
really?
Oh.
I wasted $5 on these.
Oh, before I go, at Paleontologizing, day after tomorrow will be in Adelaide Museum.
Very
Do
cool.
you want some video of the opalized plesiosaurs to look at on stream?
Sure, Dinosaur Dave, if you can take it. I can't guarantee that we'll look at it on stream. I don't know, I've got a very busy week, and I can't even guarantee I'll be streaming tomorrow. But, or Friday. But that'd be cool, if you've got the time and the inclination. Absolutely. Appreciate the 350 bits, too. Enjoy the museum. That's going to be awesome. Anyway, Andromeda Creates, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Andromeda says, I'm an oil painter, and I love dinosaurs, so here we are. Well, aren't you in the right place. Welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. Dinosaurs are what I study, what I dig up in the field. I just got back from Utah, where we were digging up dinosaurs for the past more than 3 weeks and streaming almost every day out there. Every day that I was digging, I was streaming. So check out some of the VODs from that. And yeah, now I am back in my office talking fossil science. We're going to go over some of the new dinosaurs just published while I was out in the field, the ones that we missed while I was gone. So let's get back into that, shall we? Yeah. And Hexites Coffee says, I promise I was only kidding, but people do seem to debate this a lot. Not science people, of course. Here's the thing, though. People and dinosaurs do coexist today, but the dinosaurs that exist alongside us today are birds. Birds are living dinosaurs. Every single bird alive today, from the tiniest hummingbird to the biggest albatross, those are dinosaurs because they evolved from small, two-legged, feathered, meat-eating dinosaurs. So strictly speaking, dinosaurs never went completely extinct. We've got a huge number of them today. In fact, well, how many living bird species?
Over 9,000!
It's a lot. Yeah. Around 10,000, maybe. Depends on who you ask. But when we're talking about dinosaurs from the Mesozoic era, you know, when we're talking about these guys, the Mesozoic dinosaurs, all of these went extinct 66 million years ago. So that's about 65 million years before the first humans evolved. Modern humans, like anatomically modern humans, we've only been around for about 200,000 years, give or take a few. And so that's a long, long, long time after the extinction of the non-bird dinosaurs. The end of the Cretaceous period, you know? And if it hadn't been for that extinction event, we never would have evolved in the first place. Nor would kitty cats like Mini Pie here, either. Anyway, it's good to see you, Minnie. How are ya? Howdy, howdy. Yeah. Here. Are you having a good day, Mini Pie? Yeah. You come up to say hello? Do you want some treats, too? Is that what you've come here for? Huh? Huh? Is that the case? Yeah.
What you're doing?
Yeah. Very cool. Oh. You having a good day? Let me brush you a little bit, and then I'll give you some treats. You need it. My goodness. So much loose hair on there. You're shedding like crazy. Oh, she loves that camera. Don't you, Mini Pie? Yeah. Alright, let's get you some treats. How's that sound? Ooh. There we go. You've been failing to eat most of them lately, so let's start with 4 and see how you do. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Ooh, tasty, tasty. Yeah. There you go.
A dirter.
You get 4 for now. If you come back a second time, I'll give you 4 more. How does that sound? Is that good? Yeah. Nice. There you go, Mini Pie. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, Walkera says, a kitty source? No, this is Mini Pie here. She's one of my landlords. So she kind of runs this place. Her and the other 2 cats. And I do my best to keep them happy. There we go. My best to stay in their good graces so I can continue to live here. Yeah, there you go. Clean up the crumbs. Yeah, there you go. But I got a question from, let's see, from Hex Iced Coffee. Do you also work at a university? Not anymore, no. I have worked at universities before. Never been paid well at university. My full-time job, believe it or not, the way I earn my living is through streaming here on Twitch. It's a big privilege to be able to do so. This gives me a kind of freedom that I wouldn't otherwise have. I don't have a boss. I can take time off whenever I want. And shoot, I get to make my living talking about my research and the general discipline of paleontology 5 days a week, including doing field work, too. Getting paid to do that is incredible, so, pretty happy. Nowadays, it can be exceedingly difficult to make one's living in academia, so I consider myself extraordinarily fortunate that I've been able to carve out a niche for myself here on Twitch. And, well, you're helping me do that with your viewership, and I really appreciate it. The HRM Moose, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Hello, hello. But yeah. And stark contrast.
1,000 bits can make a wonderful difference in promoting the appreciation and understanding of fossil science here on Twitch.
Gets paid like this.
I do indeed, Zook. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. Holy cow. 1,000 bits right there. Yeah, this is, Oh, did you stick your tail in the water again, Mini Pie? Goodness. Aw. But shoot, I really appreciate that. Yeah. You could call me the world's first full-time live streaming paleontologist, because that's kind of undoubtedly what I am. Huh. Yeah. It's pretty nice. Never have to write proposals for grants. Never have to sit on committee meetings or, you know, help run an academic department or anything like that. Don't have to deal with much bureaucracy. It's a good life. And I'm super fortunate, super grateful to have this. Yeah. You evolved into a derived branch of the academia tree. There you go, Alexander Morrison. Absolutely. And HRM Moose, hello to you too. It's good to have you here. Yeah. DM Wing says, education is prohibitively expensive, yet educators are underpaid. Yeah. We got the bureaucrats to thank for that.
Try blaming the dinosaurs.
Sorry, Felly. Thank you for those 100 bits. I appreciate that. Here, let me give Mini Pie a couple more treats. Would you like that? Would you like that? Ooh, yeah, you'd like that. Here. And thank you. Holy cow. Aridkin wife, I really appreciate those 5 gift subs.
Arrived and wife just changed things with those 5 gift subs.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Good stuff. There's 5 people. 5 people in the chat who won't have to watch any ads for the next 30 days, thanks to you. And holy cow. Pepper Potts.
Bots and their 16 raiders are about to get flattened by dinosaur content.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. How are things? How are you? How was your stream? Welcome, welcome. I'm hanging out here with Mini Pie. And we are, well, before we got a little sidetracked with cat treats and such, we were going over some new dinosaurs that were just published while I was out in the field digging up dinosaurs in Utah. I was out there for the better part of a month, and we missed reporting on a bunch of new dinosaurs published and a bunch of new kind of general research dinosaur paleontology publications. So we're going over some of those today. Yeah. Pepper Potts, I hope your stream was great. I appreciate you. And Xylia Dragon says, Void Kitty. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Mini Pie. Yeah. It seems like we've got some cool new people here. And I think this might actually be a lovely opportunity to introduce some of the new folks to the channel with a little video. Anybody like to see that? From our good friend Previously Recorded, Danny? Xylia Dragon, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that very much. Without further ado, I'm gonna turn things over to Previously Recorded Danny here, who is looking over my shoulder, just raring to go. So he's gonna tell you a little bit about who I am, what this channel is all about, how a paleontologist arrived on Twitch in the first place, all that good stuff. So without further ado, Previously Recorded Danny, take it away. Well, thanks, present day Danny. Well, if you happen to be new around here, then welcome to Paleontologizing. You may well be wondering to yourself, well, if this is Twitch, then where are the video games? I'm gonna level with you here. I don't really do much in the way of video games. I'm a paleontologist. My name is Danny Anduza, and dinosaurs are my area of study. But how in the world does a paleontologist end up on Twitch? Well, you're about to find out. When I finished high school, I moved to Montana and immediately started work at Museum of the Rockies, which at the time was an unparalleled powerhouse of paleobiology. That program was built by this guy.
Famed paleontologist Alan Grant.
Well, kind of.
You consulted on that movie.
I did consult on all those movies.
And they said that the guy Alan Grant was you.
Yes. Yeah, well, fortunately, he didn't get eaten.
Meet Jack Horner, the real-life Alan Grant. He's one of the most prominent and controversial paleontologists in the country, a dyslexic MacArthur Foundation genius who never finished college and who says he doesn't care why dinosaurs went extinct. To him, the important part is how they lived.
It was at Museum of the Rockies, under the auspices of Jack Horner, that I learned how to be a dinosaur paleontologist. And a huge part of that I learned by working with Jack's final graduate student, a guy by the name of Denver Fowler, who would later go on to become curator of the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Working with Denver, I did summer after summer of fieldwork in the remote Badlands of Montana. Together, we dug up more dinosaurs than we knew what to do with, at fossil sites numbering in the hundreds. In 2012, I discovered a new species of ceratopsian dinosaur, hopefully soon to be published. The next year, we excavated the world's smallest and youngest Tyrannosaurus rex. Then, we dug up a brand new ankylosaur.
Montana's news leader. 5 paleontologists are excavating what looks to likely be a new species of armored dinosaur.
So we found its head, we found parts of its armor and plates, and so it should be a new species.
Not bad, right? Well, anyway, much like my fieldwork, my research also focuses on dinosaurs. For example, here's Triarchunkus, the last of the Alvarezsaurs, just published in July of 2020. One of my current projects focuses on Spinosaurids. I can't really talk too much about that until it's a little bit closer to publication, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, let's get back to how I ended up on Twitch. A couple years ago, things in Montana were declining rapidly, so I picked up and moved on to greener pastures. I'm so glad I did. And with that new perspective, I also realized that I have very little patience with the soul-crushing bureaucracy within academia. So for the time being anyway, I decided to take my career in a slightly different direction. I got hired for a job in early childhood education. As a teacher, I get to have a positive impact on kids' lives, to help them find a passion for science. Then, when COVID-19 showed up, the school had to close. But that didn't stop the teaching or the learning. We just moved online.
All right, friends. So we're going to be looking at a book in a little bit, but I thought we'd start off with a song. At 3, 2, 1. Oh, give me a home
where the hadrosaurs roamed, where triceratops bellowed and grazed, where erosion uncovers bones we seek to discover, for to strike the whole world amazed. Home, home on the range,
where the deer and the antelope play,
where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. It was a pretty easy jump from teaching online to streaming on Twitch. I had my first broadcast in May, and I've been on here ever since. Now, I believe pretty strongly that any good scientist should also be a public servant. In my opinion, talking to everyday people about her science is one of the most important things that a researcher can do. I now have a golden opportunity to reach out directly to people where they are. This is what I'm all about, and now, thanks to Twitch, I get to share it with you. And I'm so happy to be able to do so. It's my intention to continue this mission of education by answering your questions, providing good science content, and working to grow this channel. And if you could help by following, or if you could afford it, by subscribing, I would be deeply grateful. So anyway, to my regular viewers, thank you again for sitting through this. To everybody who's new, welcome. I'm genuinely, earnestly glad that you're here. I hope you stick around. We've got a remarkable little community here, and I'd be delighted if you join us. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back into it. So, present day Danny, back to you. Thank you very much, previously recorded Danny. And of course, thank you even more to Pepper Potts for that raid. And also to Andromeda Creates for that raid earlier, too, 20 minutes ago. I appreciate both of you very much. Can we get another shout out for Pepper Potts and for Andromeda Creates? I'd appreciate that. And Corazis's very sweet intro. Loved it. Thank you. I really need to make some updated versions of those, because I made that back in 2020. A lot's happened since then. I've started doing a lot more live streams from the field. I've gone full-time, gotten Twitch partner. This is how I make my living now.
Because if they're removed, America loses them forever.
And Master Poe, thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Thank you for that support. Helping me make my living here, and that means a lot. It's often difficult to actually make ends meet as a paleontologist. Thanks for making that a little bit easier. I appreciate it. And Rini Ka says, well, that was inspiring. I'm glad you think so.
This is a herbivore and that's the dinosaur man.
Dinosaur Man.
And Andromeda Creates. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Yeah, knowledge is power. I agree. Yeah. Anyhow. Yeah, one of these days I'll maybe have some time to make some updated versions of the previously recorded Danny videos. But I've got so much going on. Holy cow. Some of it I can't talk about just yet. I'm excited to make some announcements soon. Once I get the go-ahead on some of these things, but there's some exciting paleontological work that is going to be kicking off here in the Bay Area. Then I've got TwitchCon at the end of September. And then at the end of October, I've got the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting in Minneapolis. I'm going to be presenting on some of my research there. And seeing some friends I haven't seen in like a decade or more. So it's going to be a busy fall. And I've got a bunch of new projects to work on. Not just research stuff, new publications, new papers, but also a bunch of 3D printing and a bunch of other stuff for stream. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really jazzed to be back from the field after basically 2 months of field work out in Wyoming and then Utah this summer. Every time I come back, it's like New Year's. I've got all these resolutions, things I'm excited to work on. And Andromeda Creates, thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate that very much. We're close to a hype train here, by the way. Exciting. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. How's the Spinosaur paper coming? So it's not Spinosaurus in particular, but Spinosaurs as a whole family, as a group, Spartan. And I'm hoping to get that submitted for publication well before TwitchCon. So, yeah, I also need to do some promo work for that, too. Once I get it submitted for publication, make some promotional videos, that kind of thing. I want to go big with the press on this paper. It's going to be neat. And, yeah. And Hello Bees, I've already got Twitch Partner Plus. Yeah. You don't have to apply for it. You just get it if you reach a certain threshold. And I've already got that. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. And what are the specimens we're looking at today? Let's go back to that. And Spinosauridae. Spinosauridae is the family of the spy. There we go. Spinosauridae. This whole family of Spinosaurs. So, going clockwise here, from the upper left, you've got Baryonyx, then Irritator, Spinosaurus, and Suchomimus there. All Spinosaurids. Those are the best known from skeletal remains. Anyway, Spinosauridae. Yeah. But let's get back to our news here. We've got a new, very, very early dinosaur from Brazil. Come to Brazil. This one did come from Brazil. The site where Muller and his colleagues work is part of the Quarta Colonia Geopark and is known for dinosaur fossils. The rains mean the researchers are now racing to recover exposed fossils before they are lost or destroyed. Agencia Brasil reported. If there's a lot of rain, small materials are sometimes lost before we can get to them. So now we're rushing to rescue all the materials that have been uncovered.
Long time ago, they were terrible lizards, don't you know?
Spartan.
Yay! Glad to hear it's still moving along.
Thank you, Spartan, for the 1,000 bits. I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. I'm really excited to see what comes of this. This animal that seems pretty similar to Herrerasaurus, at least from the material that I saw, but could be a good deal more primitive, potentially. By the way, I've got a skull of Herrerasaurus 3D printed. This is another one of my projects, getting a bunch of these things actually painted and finished. Let me grab that real quick. Here we go. This is a 3D printed skull of Herrerasaurus. Doesn't look super pretty yet, because I'm still in the process of smoothing out some of the rough spots. And then I can paint this bad boy and have it up on display behind me during streams. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. And, interesting what comes of that. Exactly, Korezi. And I wonder how precisely they have that dated. Because they said 233 million years old, which would place that in, what, early Carnian? Yeah. Yeah, in the early Carnian stage of the Upper Triassic. We still don't know exactly when the first dinosaurs evolved. Was it during the Ladinian, the Anisian? Are they in the Middle Triassic? It's funny how lower, middle, and upper they're not evenly split. The upper is like the upper 2/3 of the Triassic is all upper, and then you get the middle and then the lower. Well, that's just how the cookie crumbles here with the Triassic period. Anyway, yeah. So far, Herrerasaurus, I think, Herrerasaurus proper, Herrerasaurus stygulastensis, I think, is from, I want to say from the Norian. Herrerasaurus. Yeah. No, it is Carnian. Okay. Yeah. There's that skull right there that I printed. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. Very excited about that. There you go. Same one. I can't wait to have this finished. Yeah. Description, classification, paleoecology. There we go. 231 to 229 is what they're saying for this. So the one from Brazil, if it's dated correctly, could be as much as 4 million years older. Which is pretty cool. I suspect that the earliest dinosaurs probably come from the Middle Triassic, though. Because things like Herrerasaurus and Eoraptor are really already kind of recognizable as dinosaurs. They're not as primitive as you would expect, as basal as you would expect for the first dinosaurs. And so we'll probably find some that are even older than that. We just gotta find the right age rocks in the right place. Anyway. Yeah. And are you gonna paint all that fine marbling into it, Danny? That's the idea, Zook. Yeah. I would like to have it look as near to the original as I can. So I'll be working on that. Yeah. And I might make some tweaks to just kind of highlight certain features, make the teeth really pop. Maybe help highlight the sutures between different bones, between the max and the pre-max, and, you know, the lacrimals and everything else, but we'll see. It's gonna look good. Yeah. And I've got a command for the printer. Somebody pull that up. Yeah, thank you, Lenina. Quick on the draw. Anywho, cool stuff. Now we've got a brand new dinosaur. Just published on recently, too. A number of new dinosaurs, really. Let's talk about that Troodontid. From Japan, I believe. Yeah. Let's see here. This was before Asia Tyrannus, right?
If the situation called for still more protection, he simply grew spears which projected from his body armor.
Thank you, Vasalt Art, for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Well, August 5th. Yeah, we'll do this first, and then we'll do our new Tyrannosaur.
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
And thank you, Lenina.
Sub to tap scan. They have
Appreciate
given
that,
345 gift
Excellent.
subs in the channel.
Good stuff. Yeah. And, hi, hello, it's Mo. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome to Paleontologizing. Here. Another new dinosaur here. New species of troodontid dinosaur identified in Japan. Good stuff. Not just a new species, but a new genus, too. To be fair, most dinosaur genera are monospecific. It's just the way things are, the way they've been named, but, yeah. Paleontologists have announced the discovery of a new genus and species of troodontid theropod dinosaur based on the fossilized remains found in Japan. So this is a troodontid. And, shoot, it does make me want to play the Tradoon song real quick. Does anybody in chat want to see that? Before we talk about this new troodontid? This new member of the same family? Neku Joy, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome.
Tradoon.
Alright, okay. I think we can do that then.
Tradoon.
Hang on just a second. I'm gonna have to fast forward through one of our cold opens. Through the countdown. So let's do that. Starting now.
I present to you the top 10 weirdest looking dinosaurs. I want to state the obvious and tell you that I'm going to be butchering the names of these dinosaurs.
Butchering the names of these dinosaurs.
In at number 8, we have the Tradoon. Tradoon.
In 1856, the fossilized teeth of a small dinosaur were discovered in Montana. The species was aptly named Troodon, which means wounding teeth.
Tradoon.
When evolution passed out the stealth gene, Troodons lucked out.
Tradoon.
This drawer contains almost all of the North American identified specimens of Troodon.
Troodon was every inch the predator, with razor-sharp serrated teeth and large, hook-like claws. Troodon probably fed on our ancestors, the early mammals. Troodon may have posed a greater threat to mammals than any other predator on Earth. Troodon was suddenly cut down in its prime.
Tradoon.
So there you go, everybody. Especially for the new uninitiated folks. Now you're in on the in-joke.
Tradoon.
We've got a new troodontid. to talk about here. Yeah. So a member of the same family. These are very bird-like dinosaurs. So they're Maniraptorans. They're kind of on the line going up to birds. So when our dinosaur family tree, as we approach aves, the birds, Troodontids are right over here, basically. Or maybe that's supposed to be Archaeopteryx. But anyway, the point is, Troodontids are a member of Deinonychosauria, which is this clade that includes the dromaeosaurs, and Troodontids, and Archaeopteryx, and modern birds. Or, actually, are modern birds considered part of Deinonychosauria? It depends on who you ask, I suppose. Point is, Troodontids, if you ask the majority of theropod workers, the majority of theropod workers, if asked, would tell you that Troodontids are the dinosaurs most closely related to birds.
Tradoon.
So yeah. And Charisma, I'm glad you enjoyed that. But yeah. Troodon today are these. They tend to be very leggy. They tend to have shorter arms. We know they had feathers all over their bodies. They're very bird-like dinosaurs. That's lovely. Yeah. Anywho. And now we've got a new one from Japan, of all places. Hypnovenator. Matsubare Tothiorum roamed Earth during the early Cretaceous, between 112 and 106 million years ago. New dinosaur was a member of Troodontidae, a group of bird-like theropods that includes kiwi-sized to rhea-sized species. Rhea-sized. You know, they could have said emu-sized. I think a lot fewer people are familiar with rheas than they are with emus, but whatever. I know rhea's a little bit smaller, but some Troodontids definitely got big. We've got those huge teeth from Alaska. There were some Troodontids that were bigger than ostriches. Anyway, Troodontidae is a clade of small-bodied and gracile theropod dinosaurs, said Dr. Katsuhiro Kubota, paleontologist at the University of Hyogo, Museum of Nature and Human Activities, and Hokkaido University Museum, and colleagues. Although the phylogenetic position of Troodontidae is traditionally considered a clade within Dromaeosauridae, considered a clade with Dromaeosauridae, rather, forming Deinonychosauria. I was just talking about this. Troodontidae is also regarded as a sister clade to Avialae, so it's right next to birds, is what he's saying. These are some of the closest dinosaurs to birds that we have. Anchiornis, from the late Jurassic of China, is problematic in its phylogeny and is included in Troodontidae or Avialae. So Anchiornis, which is a controversial little dinosaur. Is it a bird? Is it just a very bird-like but non-bird dinosaur? We're still kind of figuring that out. Anchiornis is controversial. It jumps around in different phylogenies and different family trees that get calculated. Yeah. But this may or may not be a Troodontid, so it may be a member of this family too. Scone Capybara, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. So that's Anchiornis, brought up right here. That's from the late Jurassic of China. These active discussions significantly improve our understanding of the phylogeny and osteology, so the family tree and the, bone structure, of non-avian theropods, and greatly influence our comprehension of early avian evolution. So that's the thing, if we're trying to figure out if this critter is a bird or if it's not, it really helps to find more specimens of it, and more specimens of its close relatives too. Because the more information we have, the better we can kind of piece together what this family tree really looks like. Does that make sense? So this new critter from Japan might help with that. Since the discovery of the first Troodontid, Troodon, in the late Cretaceous of Canada, it's not from Canada, it's from Montana. That's incorrect. Not to nitpick here, but Troodon formosus was discovered in the Yeah, in the Judith River
I
Formation.
see that my 50,000 a year has been well spent.
And science
Thank you for all
streams.
you do, Professor Anduza Aka, the
Holy
science
cow.
hero of Twitch.
Belen, you make me blush. My goodness. Hope you've been doing well. If anybody's not yet following science streams, you're missing out. A fellow scientist who streams here on Twitch like 8 days a week. So Belint and Lita are a married pair of molecular and systems biologists who also stream here on Twitch. Check them out if you're not yet doing so. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Belint, for the continued support. Tier 3, 40 months. Holy cow. Thanks for helping make this possible, Belint. I appreciate you. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, Troodon is not from China. It wasn't originally described from China, China, excuse me. I saw the word China. Troodon was not originally described from Canada. It was originally described from Montana. There we go. Yeah. Known from Montana. See? I don't know. Maybe they're talking about Stenonychosaurus? They're calling it Troodon? I'm not sure. Anyway, since the discovery of the first troodontid, Troodon, in the late Cretaceous of Canada, it's originally discovered in Montana, troodontid materials have been discovered from the Middle Jurassic to late Cretaceous of Asia, Europe, and North America. However, troodontid specimens with articulation are extremely rare. And when they say with articulation, what they mean is the bone's in life position. The bone's still, you know, in the articulation that they would be in life, with the radius and ulna still by the humerus and all that stuff, you know, skeleton not disassembled. It's extremely rare to find the bones together like that. In September 2010, a partial theropod skeleton, including the forelimb and knee, was discovered in crushing rocks from the Oyamashimo Formation during the construction of a public park at the Nishikosa in Tamba Sasayama City, the paleontologist explained. So this was in the middle of a city. Pretty cool. This discovery was made by Mrs. Kaoru Matsubara and Takahara Ohe, members of an amateur group, research group on the Sasayama group. Very cool. So this was discovered by not professional paleontologists, but interested amateurs, which is really cool. And not uncommon in vertebrate paleontology. We kind of see this sort of thing a lot. Paleontology is really, really cool in the sense that you don't have to be a professional in the field to make incredible discoveries. Not every scientific discipline is like this. You know, how often do you hear about major discoveries in physics that are made by interested amateurs? You know? I don't think I've ever heard of that. I could be wrong, but I've never heard of it. I don't think it's common. We have this all the time. All the time in dinosaur paleontology, where you have regular people who are making incredible discoveries. You know, they're finding new fossils while they're out hiking or dog walking or bird watching or hunting or whatever. You have construction crews that stumble across, you know, really, really cool dinosaur fossils. I think it's one of the reasons why paleontology is so cool, is because it's kind of accessible in that way, you know? Yeah. But yeah. Anywho. And what's interesting is the species name for this critter is a combination of these names. Matsubara and Takaharu. Hypovenator Matsubara Etohiorum. So anytime you see Orum, O-R-U-M, in a species name like this, that means that it's named after multiple people. Here, let me show you an example. You've got Saurolophus osborni here, named after Henry Fairfield Osborn. That's a duck-billed dinosaur. And then you get Maiasaura peeblesorum. So Osborni is named after one guy. Maiasaura peeblesorum is named after a whole family of people. The Peebles. Because it was on the private land of, I think it was Jan Peebles and her family, that Maiasaura was first discovered. And they let the paleontologists work on their land for free and allowed these fossils to be donated to various museums. And so they got a dinosaur named after them. But anyway, the point is, anytime you hear that suffix orum there, that means it's named after multiple people. Yeah. And Jay Glasswork says paleontology is for the people. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and Charlie's Dragon, I agree with that. Yeah. Biology in general, yes. Anyway, yeah. Matsubara and Ohei, both of their names are honored in this. Matsubara Ohei Orum. Pretty neat. In September 2010, a partial theropod skeleton, including the forelimb and knee, was discovered in Crushing Rock. We read about this. Yeah. In July 2011, an articulated theropod heel was collected from the same locality during an excavation organized by the Museum of Nature and Human Activities in Hyogo. These specimens are an only confirmed occurrence of a troodontid dinosaur in Japan. So, first troodontid from Japan there. Very nice. Our phylogenetic analysis, so like creating a family tree, running the numbers and getting a computer to spit out a tree based on different characters you plug into it. That family tree positions Hypnovenator, excuse me, as the oldest and one of the most basal troodontines, forming a clade with Gobivenator mongoliensis, the researchers said. The discovery suggests that... And DJE, Scamilla Joshua 36, thanks for the follow. Welcome, welcome. The discovery suggests that small-bodied Maniraptoran dinosaurs with a sleeping posture were common not only in environments with volcanic and aeolian events or alluvial systems, but also in fluvial systems. That's interesting. So was this animal found curled up, sleeping like a bird, in the same way that Mei Long and some other troodontids have been found? Huh. I guess if we can take a look at the paper, we'll find out. Geometric morphometric analysis of manual ungual phalanges. Let me translate that for you. That means measuring the finger bones shows that digits 1 and 3, so the thumb and the middle finger of Hypnovenator, exhibit considerable morphological variation. So they look really different from each other. It's weird that they're that varied. But they're functionally similar, which differs from those of non-troodontine troodonts, reflecting the transition of manual motion within troodontinae. So within this family, you're seeing evolution of how the finger bones work. That's what they're saying, basically. Hypnovenator also has mosaic features in the pest, that's the foot, related to cursoriality. So they're saying that it's got some interesting kind of mixed characteristics in the foot that show that it's adapted for fast running. This study reveals that asymmetrical arctometatarsus occurred by the Albian age. So that means the metatarsal bones, the upper foot bones, are already fused together, like by the beginning of the late Cretaceous. And some morphological changes, such as shorter digit 4 than digit 3, and non-ungual phalanges of digits 3 with roller joints and digit 5, so they've got that gangliomoid condition, with weakly gangliomoid articulation, arose during the early late Cretaceous. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. And DJE, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. Anywho, here is a link to the actual paper. Here's a link to it, right here. And thank goodness, this is open access. No paywall here. This is, science by the people, for the people.
Access granted.
Yes, indeed. Here we go. Take a look at that. Beautiful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at this original paper. And this is something that I'm always excited to do on stream because... well, shoot. Let me explain it like this. As a scientist, this is the way that I catch up on new findings in my field. This is the way that we as scientists communicate ideas to one another. This is the currency of science, is scientific publications. So when you see a paper like this is something that has taken years of work. This is a brand new discovery that's put out there for other scientists to look at, and it's already gone through a review process. It's been peer-reviewed. It's had its mettle tested by other scientists, and now it's been announced to the world. It's been announced to other scientists in this scientific journal. Basically, if something's not published in science, then it might as well not exist. That's kind of the attitude that we take for stuff like this. If you want to be able to get your work out there, you've got to publish it. And so, like, for instance, if you're talking about a new dinosaur, it basically doesn't exist until it's published. You can go around calling a new dinosaur by a name, but that name isn't official. It doesn't really exist until it's actually been published in the scientific literature, and that's what we have right here. So this is exciting stuff, and you're getting this straight from the source. This is not from some, news article. This is not something that's been editorialized or dumbed down. This is the straight dope that we have here in dinosaur paleontology. And I'm excited to walk you through it. Help it make it a little bit less arcane for you. So let's do it. Yeah. Yeah. So early Cretaceous troodontid. So this is part of the derived group of troodontids from the Oihamisho formation. Oiyamashimo formation, excuse me. Oiyamashimo of Japan reveals the early evolution of Troodontinae. Very cool. So let's take a look at the abstract right here. The abstract is a short summary of the paper that comes at the beginning. Most scientists who are reading this paper are not going to really read the whole paper, but they're going to read the abstract first of all. This gives you the gist of it, like just the highlights. And then if you're particularly curious about something, you can really dive into the main body of the paper. Yeah, the real tofu and potatoes of the paper, so to speak. And you can get the details. But we'll read the abstract first of all, and I'll help kind of translate that for you. It'll probably be a lot of the same stuff we saw in the press release. But a new troodontid dinosaur, Hypnovenator Matsubaratohyorum, it's described based on an articulated postcranial skeleton. So that means they've got a skeleton of this critter missing the skull. It's postcranial, but it's together. The bones are still in life position to a certain extent, which is really exciting. Recovered from fluvial deposits. So these are rocks that were originally laid down by flowing water, a river in particular. Of the Albion. Albion is a stage in the Cretaceous period. So the Albion is in the Cretaceous period. The Albion is right here, the very end of the lower Cretaceous. So between 113 and 100.5 million years ago. The Oyamashimo Formation of the Sasayama Group in Tambasa-Sayama City, Hyogo Prefecture, Japan. Hope I did okay with those pronunciations. Hypnovenator is distinguished from other troodontids by 4 autapomorphies. Autapomorphies are unique traits that no other critter has so far. It's something that should make this critter different and warrant us calling it a new kind of dinosaur. That's an autapomorphy. It's a special unique characteristic. So it's got 4 of those, supposedly. 4 autapomorphies and a combination of additional features. Our phylogenetic analysis, so like their family tree they came up with, positions Hypnovenator as the oldest and one of the most basals, one of the most primitive, one of the most ancestral, almost you could say, troodontines, members of the troodont family, forming a clade with Gobi Venator mongoliensis. Gobi Venator is a troodontid from the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. Yeah, there's some reconstructions of it, so you know, that's how much we actually have. A good portion of the skeleton for Gobi Venator. It's about that big. And there's the actual material there. That's gorgeous. Holy cow. What a beautiful skeletal mount. So this is the guy that comes out as sister taxon to our new critter, Hypnovenator. This new one from Japan seems to be most closely related so far to this one from Mongolia. The discovery of Hypnovenator suggests that small-bodied Maniraptorans, so little raptor dinosaurs, with a sleeping posture were common not only in environments with volcanic and aeolian events or alluvial systems, but also in fluvial systems. So shoot, was this animal found curled up like a sleeping bird? Because we've seen that before in other troodontids. Mei Long is probably the most famous example. This dinosaur was found curled up like this. It's just a little baby troodont. But, here we go. Yeah. Curled up like that. The tail curled up around at the head, kind of tucked under the arm. We found this in a number of different troodonts before. Pretty cool. So that's been found in rocks that were laid down by volcanoes or by wind, but now we have it in like a river system too, a fluvial depositional setting. Which is pretty cool. And Crimson Carnotaurus' Mei Long are that tiny? Well, it was a juvenile. That thing's not full grown. But yeah, it's a small, small, small individual. Yeah. It's not a large critter. See? It's probably a hatchling, frankly. Yeah. Yeah. This new one is a bit bigger. Hypnovenator. Geometric morphometric analysis of manual ungual phalanges, so studying and measuring the finger bones. Yeah, they talked about this in the press release, where he talked about that. Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the figures here. There we go. So this is from the main island of Honshu in Japan. There it is right there. Tambas Sasayama City in Hyogo Prefecture. And nice. Okay. So we've got a nice geological map of this area showing the different geological formations in there, how old each of these rocks are. And the fossil locality is where? Fossil locality should be a red dot. They should have chosen green or something. Or blue. So we can easily pick it out. Where is it? Are there 4 fossil localities? I find this really confusing. Yeah, not the best figure, I'm gonna say. Yeah, whatever. Fossil bearing horizon. Okay. Anyway, pretty cool. Let's take a look at the etymology. So this is why it was named what it was. The genus name, Hypnovenator. Hypno refers to sleep in ancient Greek, and venator means hunter in Latin. The specific name, Matsubare Eto Hyoram, honors Mrs. Kaoru Matsubara and Takahuru Ohei, were the first discoverers of a block including a part of Hypnovenator holotype specimen. And so from this critter, we've got 2 caudal vertebrae, so 2 vertebrae from the tail, 2 dorsal ribs, 38 gastralia. Gastralia is the network of like belly ribs on the underside of the animal. There we go. Gastralia are the ribs on the underside of theropod dinosaurs. They look like this in T-Rex. Yeah. A chevron, which is one of the bones that hangs down from the tail. Left humerus, upper arm bone. Left radius right here. Left ulna. Left carpal, wrist bone. Left metacarpal, so these are the upper hand bones. 1 to 3. Distal end of right metacarpal 1. Left manual phalanges. Distal part of left femur, thigh bone, left tibia, shin bone, and fibula shin bone, missing the midshaft, distal end of the right tibia. So they've got a decent amount of the skeleton here. That's impressive. And look at how well preserved these fossils are. So these came out in a big block like this, and they required very, very careful cleaning to chip away that rock. But look, you've got a gorgeous arm right here. Humerus, the upper arm bone, radius and ulna. That's this bone and this bone. And then you've got that wrist, and those fingers and claws down there too. Gorgeous. So everything highlighted here in red is what they have. Very, very cool. Yeah. And Zeomycin says 4 localities, legend is clear. They could have made it clearer. But welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. Very nice. This is really nice stuff. Almost all elements are from the left side. And selected elements, so this is really nice, and they were able to actually scan these. And I wonder if they've got this in the sup info. If in the supplementary information we can get 3D models of these, so that other researchers can look at them in their computers and maybe even 3D print them. I hope that information is available. That's pretty neat. Yeah. So yeah, they've got a decent amount of skeleton here. This is really nice. And so I guess they're looking mostly at well, shoot, right here they're looking at the arctometatarsalia condition, which is where those metatarsals, the upper foot bones, get kind of squished together. And so they're comparing this across different taxa here in this phylogeny, this family tree. So that's one of the characters they used in generating this family tree. This is really cool. And I love that this is, it accounts for time as well. Yeah. So anyway, our new critter, which is... Hypnovenator right there, comes out as a sister taxon to Gobivenator. So it is part of Troodontidae, but just barely. So it is a member of the more derived group of troodonts. Pretty cool. And then looking at some of the claws there, doing all kinds of like geometric morphometric analysis here. curvature and everything. This is really cool. Yeah. All data generated or analyzed during the study are included in the sub-info files. So, that means we might actually be able to get access to those 3D models. Let's see. So here we go. Here's the paper. Supplementary information. Is this just automatically downloading? How's this working? So let me look at my downloads. Yeah. Spreadsheets, Word documents, TPS, that could be a 3D file right there. Properties, yeah. What is a TPS file? Program used for creating sprite sheets and for optimizing images. Huh. Top scan and top speed database applications. Sprite sheets. Huh. I don't know if we can actually get the 3D files. That would be really cool to be able to snag that, but I'm not sure that's in the cards today. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Claire was saying something about the location here.
With massive jaws filled with razor-sharp teeth, Tyrannosaurus rex was a terrifying sight.
Riding up on that 1-year mark.
Thank you, CMC Airboss. Holy cow. 43 months. You'll be there pretty soon, I think. Holy moly. Thank you. 43 months of support. Yeah, that's a long time. Appreciate you keeping me here on the air for that long. Thank you, thank you. Change up my earbud real quick, because that one was going. It's charging. There we go. Nice. Yeah. And, geez, it's right there between cities, says Claire.
This is the Rosetta Stone of meat-eating dinosaurs.
And there is no such a thing as a Rosetta Stone in science.
James Howlett.
Crazy Paleo salute.
Thank you for the 34 months of support. Holy cow. Appreciate that. Good stuff. Good stuff. And now, Cootie Juice has got a question. How did dinosaurs communicate with each other? Did they have vocalizations, visual displays, other means of interaction that we haven't yet understood? All of the above. Yeah. Here, as we're talking about troodontids, let's look at them real quick. So, we know that these animals, troodontids, had feathers. And in modern birds, feathers can be used for all kinds of different things. They can be used for weatherproofing, for warmth, for maintaining body temperature maybe by shedding excess heat. They can be used for like shielding the body from impact or from abrasion. And of course they can be used for display and communication. We've got every reason to think that dinosaurs used their feathers for very similar things too. Troodonts, not only did they have feathers, could have been used to show off to one another, but presumably these guys would have made noises as well. They could have communicated vocally. And maybe also through smells. Birds today don't really have a reputation for having a great sense of smell. But we do know that a lot of theropod dinosaurs had an incredible sense of smell. So they may have communicated via scents as well. Yeah, when I say communicated, you know, talking about the same sense that, like, animals today communicate with one another. They show their emotions, they call each other over, they tell each other to get away, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. I'm not necessarily talking about, like, complex language. But that being said, don't underestimate dinosaur intelligence, especially as concerns troodontids. We do have kind of a general sense that these would have been pretty clever dinosaurs. And, yeah, I think we actually have a clip sort of depicting a speculative scenario regarding that. From Prehistoric Planet. And is there evidence of fur on dinosaur hatchlings? So that's like downy feathers. We do have evidence of that, CMC, our boss. Yes, indeed. Here, take a look at this. This is another troodontid.
Most animals flee from the flames. But for some, the disaster creates opportunities. This 6-foot-long dinosaur, a troodontid, is one of...
And look at how it's expressing itself, too, with those feathers. Reminds me of a secretary bird. Those feathers going up and down to kind of show what it's feeling.
The smaller members of the theropod group.
And there are some modern birds that will do this. Crimson Carnotaurus, yes indeed. That's where they got the idea for this program.
Its huge eyes give it a cute sight, even in this smoky gloom.
This little sequence.
And for its size, its brain is one of the largest on the planet.
So again, the reason I'm showing you this...
Most intelligent, adaptable, and successful hunter in the Arctic.
This is also a troodontid, member of the same family as our new dinosaur from Japan. And yeah, James Howlett, isn't this wonderful?
At the far edge, troodontids gather to prey on
CGI
animals that are trying to escape the flames. Anything that spreads the fire creates more opportunities for the most ingenious Arctic hunter of its time.
Going after some mammals there, some of our early ancestors.
Success.
And maybe I'll play that one tomorrow, Claire, the cold open video. Yeah. We've got other dinosaurs to get to here. So, let's do that. Yeah. So anyway, welcome to the world. Hypnovenator. Pretty cool critter. And again, if you want to download this paper, take a look at it yourself. It is open access. No paywall at all. So, there you go. And this is published July 25th. It was already in the field for 10 days at that point when this is published. Out digging dinosaurs in Utah. And we've got yet another new theropod to discuss. Published a few days after that, I believe. Where is our Asia Tyrannus? There we go. From July 26th. New Tyrannosaur species and genus discovered in China. Interesting stuff. Paleontologists have discovered the remains of a deep-snouted tyrannosaurid dinosaur named Asia Tyrannus shui in southeastern China. Now, anytime we've got word of a new tyrannosaur from Eastern Asia like this, the immediate question that jumps to mind for me is this thing actually different from Tarbosaurus? I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, so we'll be investigating this together right now. Tarbosaurus is a tyrannosaur from Mongolia and China from like the end of the Cretaceous period. It's very similar to Tyrannosaurus. In fact, there are some paleontologists who are pretty well convinced that Tyrannosaurus evolved from Tarbosaurus. The T-Rex may have actually been like an Asian immigrant, walked across the land bridge from Asia, and then kind of kicked out the endemic North American Tyrannosaurus that existed before. It is a big question. Did Tyrannosaurus evolve from an Asian ancestor in Tarbosaurus? Or did it evolve from North American Tyrannosaurs like Daspletosaurus? It's an ongoing controversy. But anyway, the point is, Tarbosaurus is a dinosaur that's very well known from Mongolia and China. There are tons of specimens of this animal. From the Namek Formation of Mongolia and the Subashi Formation of China. Represented by dozens of fossil specimens, including several complete skulls and skeletons. So, Tarbosaurus here, from the Namek Formation. About 70 million years old. Some of them might actually be a little bit younger than that too, almost approaching 66 million years ago. Anyway. This new guy looks pretty similar. Let's examine it. Go with the press release first. Asia Tyrannus shui roamed our planet during the late Cretaceous, approximately 69 million years ago. Well, well, well. So it's from the same time as Tarbosaurus, is it? The new species is a member of Tyrannosaurinae, so it's from the same subfamily as Tarbosaurus. One of the two extinct subfamilies of Tyrannosauridae, the most derived group within the superfamily Tyrannosauroidea. Tyrannosauroids are the most distinctive, best known, and most intensively studied group of dinosaurs, and are represented by almost 30 species, said lead author Dr. Wenjie Sheng and colleagues from the Zhejiang Museum of Natural History. I don't speak Mandarin, so, you know, please excuse any poor pronunciation here. I'm doing my best. The earliest tyrannosaurs appeared in the Middle Jurassic around 165 million years ago. They became apex predators in their respective ecologies during the final 20 million years of the Cretaceous in Asia and Western North America. The colossal body size and deep snout are characteristics of the ecologically dominant latest Cretaceous tyrannosauroid species. Asia Tyrannus shui, this is our new critter here, is a small to medium-sized tyrannosaurine dinosaur with a skull length of 47.5 centimeters, it's about almost 19 inches, with an estimated total body length of 3.5 to 4 meters, so 11.5 to 13 feet. The new species was around half the size of Chanshusaurus and other large-bodied tyrannosaurines in similar growth stages, the paleontologist noted. Similar growth stages. That implies that they did histo here. That they actually cut open the limb bones to see what growth stage this critter is at. I hope they did. Right now, it seems like this looks very, very similar to a juvenile Tarbosaurus. And I suspect, I have suspicions that maybe it is just a juvenile Tarbosaurus. This is the cool thing about science. Science is all about testing ideas. And in dinosaur science, if we want to be able to test if one dinosaur is really the same thing as another one, just maybe a different growth stage, the way to test that is to cut open the limb bones and count the growth rings inside. Much like you do with say tree rings, trying to figure out how old a tree was before you went and cut it down. Well, before this dinosaur was cut down, before it died, it was also laying down those growth rings, and if you count them, you can tell how old it was when it died. Let's hope they did that here, because if they didn't, if they're just using something like skull fusion, which is a notoriously unreliable means of determining maturity, then this thing's probably not valid. So we'll see. Those are the stakes. We'll see what they did. Yeah. A nearly complete skull and partial disarticulated postcranial skeleton of the new dinosaur was found at a construction site. Very cool. Our second construction site dinosaur of Didai. Very nice. Of the Nenxiang Formation of Shahe Town in Ganzhou City, Chinese province of Jiangxi, in September 2017. Asia Tyrannus and Chanshusaurus have different skull proportions and body sizes, suggesting they may occupy different ecological niches, the researchers said. In the Campano-Maastrichtian of Eastern Central Asia and Laramidia, so
ontogeny,
toward the end of the Cretaceous period in Asia, the large carnivore guilds are monopolized by tyrannosaurids, with adult medium-sized predators rare or absent. Okay. Scientists interpreted the missing middle-sized niches in theropod guilds of late Cretaceous Laramidian Asia may have been assimilated by juveniles and subadults of tyrannosaurid species. In southeastern China, Chanshusaurus undoubtedly occupied the apex predator niche, but Asia Tyrannus might represent the small to medium-sized theropod niche between the larger-bodied Chanshusaurus and the diversified small-bodied Oviraptorosaurs. Findings appear this week in the journal Scientific Reports. So, we're going to take a look at this. Scientific Reports is open access, by the way. So we'll be able to look at the original paper. And let's see if they actually did histo. If they actually cut open the bones to look at the growth rings, or if they're just saying, well, it looks mature. Let's see if they properly tested that hypothesis. Yeah. And Dio Cerno says, hey, what book do you recommend about paleontology? What kind of book are you looking for, Dio Cerno? Are you looking for a narrative book? Are you looking for an encyclopedia? Are you looking for like a reference guide? What kind of book are you looking for? Let me know. Yeah. Yeah. Here is paper right here. There it is in the chat. Dio Cerno says, narrative. Well, well, well. Here, before we dive into this paper, let me make a book recommendation for you real quick. This is one of my very, very favorite narrative books about vertebrate paleontology. Time Traveler by Michael Novacek. This is kind of an autobiography about this paleontologist's life in the field. So, particularly like doing field work. My dad got this book for me as soon as it came out. I was probably like 10 years old at the time. Read it cover to cover as fast as I could. Still one of my favorite books. Excellent writing style, very unpretentious, but you'll learn a ton. It reads kind of like an adventure novel. I think you'll like it a lot. And thank you, Claire Burr, for posting that there. You can get it for less than $5 on Thrift Books there. Thank you, Claire. Good stuff. Yeah. So there you go, Dio Cerno. Enjoy. Let's take a look at this paper here. First deep-snouted tyrannosaur from the Upper Cretaceous Ganzhou city of southeastern China. And once again, this is open access here. Brilliant. Oh, wrong one.
Access granted.
Beautiful. Yeah. Let's take a look and see if they did their histo here. Yeah. Well. Based on histological analysis here, the holotype of Asia tyrannus is, hang on, not a somatically mature adult, but it already passed through the most rapid growth stages. Ooh. So it's complicated. This is not just like a juvenile.
Really spectacular. Noise.
Thank you, Anonymous Gifter, for gifting Max
User
Beats.
gifted a tier 1 sub to
Appreciate
Max
that,
Beats.
Anonymous. Thank you. You are as generous as you are mysterious, and I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Not a somatically mature adult, so it's not done growing, they're saying. But it already passed through the most rapid growth stages. So it's not mature. But they're saying it's not growing super rapidly either. Is that because this is a new taxon, or is it just because this individual in particular had stunted growth?
Glue is cheap.
Maybe that's why it died. Huh. Yeah. And thank you, Anonymous Gifter, for gifting Weeback. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Good stuff. Demonic Child says, I redeemed a hydrate a bit ago. Fascinating. I love that for you. I don't always pay attention to those, sorry. I've got a lot going on. But I'm glad you're watching. Thanks for being here. Let's see here. Let's talk about the histology a little bit. Ontogenetic age and body size. This is what we want, yes. So the periosteal cortex of the right fibula is zonal and exhibits a minimum of 13 lines of arrested growth, lags. The fibular section lacks a medullary cavity similar to the juvenile Tarbosaurus. However, the secondary remodeling is more developed in that specimen. The periosteal bone is incomplete, therefore the total number of lags in the presence of an external fundamental system cannot be determined. If something has an EFS, an external fundamental system, that implies that the animal is done growing. So an EFS is like around the perimeter of the bone. The growth rings start to get so close together that they just they're almost indistinguishable. And it's like, bow, that means the animal is slowing its growth. It's somatically mature. It's basically done growing for the most part. Definitely an adult, definitely not a juvenile, if it has an EFS. So they don't have an EFS in this critter. And so that implies that it's not done growing. The medial half of the fibula has undergone a large degree of secondary remodeling, which obliterated the lags. Narrow outer zone. Holotype of the Asia tyrannus is not full growth adult individual, but it already passed to the most rapid growth stage. I would love to see what somebody like Holly Woodward would have to say about this. Who's an expert in histology. What her interpretation would be. Skull shows several matured cranial morphologies. That's not a reliable indicator. Sorry, it's just not. We interpret the specimen to be a subadult that was nearing somatic maturity. So, how is this critter different from Tarbosaurus? That's what I really want to know. Snout and skull are both relatively narrower than in large-bodied tyrannosaurids, such as Gorgosaurus, Tarbosaurus, and Tyrannosaurus. Okay. Interesting. It looks pretty Tarbosaurus-y to me, though. Not being an expert on Tyrannosaurs, but being familiar with them at least. I do wonder about this. Yeah, that does look very Tarbosaurus-y. It also looks very juvenile. Just like the size of the orbit, the eye socket right here.
And I tell my kids
kids, you have to remember, dinosaurs and human beings lived on the Earth at the same time.
Oh boy.
What, like the Flintstones?
Looky Lucille, thank you for the 47 months of support. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for keeping me here online for the past 47 months. It's a long time. Thank you for that.
Lived a long time ago.
Holy cow, 1,000 bits.
Terrible lizards, don't you know?
Looky Lou. Appreciate you. Holy moly, thank you for that. Thanks for supporting Science Outreach here on Twitch, both with your continued support through subscription and those bits. Thank you very much for that. Excellent. Appreciate you. But yeah. Yeah, and Crimson Carnotaurus says, what about that other Tyrannosaur from China, Zhusheng Tyrannus? I want to say Zhusheng Tyrannus is older, but I might be wrong about that. Let's look it up. Let's test this hypothesis. There we go. Late Cretaceous. It might not even be that well dated. Let's see. Campanian. So it is earlier in time. Yeah. So Zhusheng Tyrannus might be an ancestor of Tarbosaurus, potentially. It does seem to be a big old critter. Here, I'm trying to show this size comparison to you. I'm bigging it. There we go. This is like a Tyrannosaurus-sized Tyrannosaur, Zhusheng Tyrannus. Yeah, we don't have a great deal of material from it. Apparently just a max and a denary. But, that's enough to show how big it would be. Yeah. Pretty big indeed, Corsi, yeah. Yeah. And it comes out as sister taxon to Tarbosaurus, so it very well could be the ancestor of Tarbosaurus. If anagenesis really is like the dominant mode of dinosaur evolution in critters like Tyrannosaurs, then yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is the ancestor of Tarbosaurus. And there's one having its carnivorous way with a duck-billed dinosaur there. That's a really neat mount. Holy cow. Yeah. Huh. Anywho, our new critter here. This really reminds me of, honestly, of Chomper. Specimen I helped dig up in Montana back in 2013 and 2014. We don't have the whole skull, so some of this is reconstructed, but we've got the denary, the lower jaw, we've got part of the maxilla, and I think the premax, and then we've got some other parts from near the back of the skull. It really does remind me of that. And yeah, also of this right here, which is a reconstruction based partly on that specimen. So take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, and JB Abunovich, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. And thank you, Charlie's Dragon. I'll try and remember that. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. This reconstruction, which is partly based on juvenile Tarbosaurus material. Juvenile Tarbosaurus skull. Right here. That does look very similar to our reportedly new Tyrannosaur from the same place and the same general... same continent, at least. Same time. Same continent. Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm not necessarily convinced that this thing really should be a new genus. I know everybody wants to name a new dinosaur. I'm not here to rain on anybody's tapomorphy parade or anything, but I do wonder about it. Yeah. Yeah. Anywho. What was our diagnosis here again? Following a tapomorphies. And tapomorphies, again, to reiterate, are like unique features that are supposed to only occur in this animal. So 2 small deep fossae located on the lateral surface of the premax, just lateral to the anteroventral border of the external nares. That seems like a really subtle thing, honestly. A large and subrectangular shaped maxillary fenestra. Yeah, that could be like a preservational thing too. Subrectangular, I mean, that's a very subjective kind of character. Posterior protuberances of the nasals connect to form 2 separated medium-low ridges. That can be preservational too. Low ridge-like jugal accessory horn. That could very well be like an ontogenetic thing. Ventral margin of the anterior ramus of the jugal, curving ventrally anterior to the accessory horn. On the lateral surface of the descending process of the postorbital developed anterodorsally trending fine lineations. A slender, straight, and banded-shaped postorbital bar. That could be interesting. Almost straight and parallel anterior and posterior margins in lateral view with the lateral syringular shelf extends to the posterior end of the syringular. I don't know. I really kind of wonder about that. It's a beautiful specimen. Is it a new genus, though? I'm not necessarily convinced. Yeah. And there you go, Petrodactylus. That's exactly what that is. Hope it's not too distracting. And Crimson Carnotaurus says, are Tarbosaurus known from the same area this new Tyrannosaur is from? And is it from the right time? Time, yes. I don't think there's been any Tarbosaurus discovered from this particular geological formation yet, so this geographic area. But we've got it from the same continent at the same time. These would have been pretty mobile animals. Yeah, I imagine that, there's no real reason why this couldn't be the same thing, aside from some very subtle differences. Ultimately, this is going to come down to whether you think these differences are too subtle to designate a new genus, or maybe you think they are dramatic enough to warrant a new genus. This is a different kind of dinosaur. I don't know. I'd like to see something more solid than... something more dramatic than like some subtle characteristics that just seem to be subtly different, you know? Well, I don't know. But this is the thing. There's this like perennial, like evergreen dispute between, you know, scientists in the biological sciences. You get lumpers and you get splitters. People who prefer to see the similarities between similar organisms and people who prefer to see the differences. I think that those differences might actually represent taxonomic differences, you know? These are different species, or different genera. I don't know. I think sometimes these differences kind of get overblown. We've got a lot of individual variation in dinosaurs and a lot of ontogenetic variation, too. As dinosaurs grow and mature, they change a lot. To the point where that's fooled a lot of paleontologists in the past into thinking that these must be different kinds of dinosaur, when in fact, actually it seems like these are just differences in growth stages, rather than differences between species, you know? So yeah. Yeah. Lumpers carry a club, splitters carry an axe. I like that damn thing. Sort of, kind of. I don't know. Sure. It's one way to put it. Yeah. Anywho. Interesting stuff. I'm gonna change our stream category to just chatting here. Because again, we're trying to bring new people in whenever we can. Yeah. Yeah. So, Asia Tyrannus. Of course, there's already a Wikipedia article about it. It probably was within hours of it being published. There's probably already a Wikipedia article. Yeah. Description, classification, paleoecology. We're probably not going to see any discussion on here about it potentially being a juvenile Tarbosaurus. But I would not be shocked at all if it turns out to be a juvenile Tarbosaurus. Although I'll be pleasantly surprised if it turns out to be valid, you know? I don't work on Tyrannosaurs, so who really cares what I think? I do wonder if it is just a juvenile Tarbosaurus. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Sabina Bean says, we do care what you think. I guess I mean other paleontologists. Who cares what I think, you know? But yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So we've got 2 new dinosaurs that we just took a look at so far. And I believe we've got a few others to take a look at. Pampananaean is a Rabacusaur from Argentina just described. And I'm waiting on hearing back from the authors of the paper to see if I can get a copy of it. And, well, holy cow, actually. Ding, ding, ding. I just got an email back. From the lead author. Let me reply to him real quick. Thank you so much, Lucas. You know, hold the record for fastest response to a paper request from a colleague, I'm saying. There we go. And here is that paper. Unfortunately, it is not open access. But, in fact, this is so early on that we don't even have, we don't even have a press release or anything for it. Let me see if it's anywhere in the news so far, or if we're going to be getting a super early look at this. No items to show in Google News. Yeah. Nothing in the scientific press yet. either in, like, you know, scientific popular press. Here is the paper. So yeah, you've seen it here first, folks. Unfortunately,
access denied.
If you would like to purchase the PDF, it is $61 because Historical Biology is not an open access journal. It is paywalled. But here's the cool thing. You can go to this page, or any time that you have a new scientific publication or an old scientific publication that you can't get access to. You know, it's paywalled. Your university doesn't happen to have a subscription to it. Maybe you're like me, not currently like associated with a university with journal access, and you really, really want to be able to look at one of these papers. Here's what you can do. Email the lead author. You can usually find their contact info right there on the page, and just send them a nice email and say, hey, really interested in your work, this looks really cool, is there any chance you could find the time to reply with a PDF? And only once in my career have I had somebody say no. And it turns out they actually like worked for the journal that they published in, and they're like, no, you gotta pay for it. Every other time, you know, researchers are more than happy to share their work because they're not seeing any of the profit from this. Like, they're not getting any of the money from that paywall. The journal is reaping the profits, and they just want people to read their work. The researchers are like, hey, I want this to be as widely distributed as it can be because I want people to see what I've done here. I want them to read and appreciate my work. So email the authors if you ever need a paper. Yeah. Anyway, I just sent an email out around noon today, I think. And I've already heard back from Lucas N. Lerso, Argentina. And here is the paper. This is just published yesterday, I believe. Yeah. The title is They All Floated in the Cretaceous. Is that a reference to something? Sounds like a fun title. A new Rebachisaurid with a highly pneumatized skeleton from the Upper Cretaceous of Patagonia, Argentina. So Rebachisaurs are a group of like derived diplodocoids. So long-necked plant-eating sauropod dinosaurs. Rebacchisaurus. Here we go. So they might be descended from Diplodocus, or not Diplodocus itself, but like its relatives, or they might be like an offshoot that survives in the southern hemisphere in Gondwana, while these guys seem to go extinct in the northern hemisphere. But yeah, Rebacchisaurs. Dicraeosaurus, like you can see in Berlin at the museum there. This guy's from Tendaguru in Tanzania, East Africa. This is an example of a Rebacchisaur from the Jurassic. I think Dicraeosaurs are Rebacchisaurids, right? Yeah. They're known from fragmentary fossil remains from the Cretaceous of South America, Africa, North America, Europe, and possibly Central Asia. Maybe Dicraeosaurus is not a Rebacchisaur. I guess it's not. Forget I said that. Anyway, yeah. So they're kind of a mysterious group of sauropods. Here's Limaesaurus. Much of this skeleton is reconstructed. So much of this is, I guess, guesswork to a certain extent. But this new one is exciting. Let's see what they've got from it. We'll read the abstract. Rebacchisaurids are a group of basal diplodocoid sauropods that diversified primarily in Gondwana in the southern continents from the early Lower Cretaceous and early Upper Cretaceous. So let me show you. Let's go to, say, 120 million years ago. Or 105 million years ago. There we go. So this is what our planet Earth looked like back then, more or less. About 105 million years ago. During the later part of the Lower Cretaceous. You've got the supercontinent breaking apart. This is Laurasia up here, which is North America. Got a land bridge going across to Asia. And then over to Europe. Europe is like this kind of series of islands at the time. Sea levels rise and fall, and the islands get bigger and smaller, and they connect to one another via land bridges, and then they get isolated again. It's just going on all the time. Africa and South America have just started to break apart from one another at this point. India and Madagascar have already broken away, and they're making their journey north. Madagascar will basically get stuck right there, and India will continue to move north. Australia and Antarctica and New Zealand down here are starting to break apart from one another too. But these southern continents, South America, Africa, India, Madagascar, Antarctica, Australia, New Zealand, these all form what we call Gondwana, the southern supercontinent, starting to break apart down there. And Rabachisaurs are known from Gondwana, primarily. The phylogenetic relationships, so like, what is the family tree of these critters? Still under debate, given the fragmentary and incomplete nature of their remains. Here, in this paper, the authors provide a detailed description of the post-cranial remains of Campanean fragilismus. Uh-oh. Fragilismus means fragmentary, or like fragile. We'll see how much of this critter they have. I'm guessing it's not very much. Brachiosaurs do have a reputation for being pretty fragmentary. Anyway, new critter. Campanean fragilismus. From the Cordilleras Formation, Lower Cenomanian of Neuquén Province, Argentina. Campanean presents notable features that allow it to be recognized as a new species by the presence of undeveloped crista prudica, para-occipital process, internally a hollow and fused dorsal, molar arm of the ilium. Okay. So they've got at least some hip elements too. The phylogenetic analysis recovered this taxon as a basal Rabachysaurid, similar to Zapalosaurus, Cytosaura, and the specimen from La Amarga Formation. The new Rabachysaurid is recovered as the sister taxon of Cytosaura due to the presence of procoelous posterior caudal vertebrae and dorsoventrally flattened posterior caudal centra. C. fragilismus represents an extreme pneumatization of the sacral region. So we've got these big, like, air sacs, pneumaticities, hollows in the hips. With an autapomorphic dorsal LR arm of the sacral transverse process. Finally, the phylogenetic analysis supports a South American origin for Rabachisauridae. So this whole family may have originated, first evolved in South America. That's what these findings suggest. And an early diversification to Africa and Europe by the Barremian-Aptian stages, as previously suggested. So the idea is, since these fossils show a relatively primitive Rabachysaurid from South America, from Argentina, it supports the idea that these animals first evolved in South America, and later, through time, they migrate into Africa and Europe. Cool. Yeah. Let's take a look at their figures here. Well, first, let's take a look at the etymology. Where does the name come from? Campanas, from the Las Campanas locality, where the remains were found, and Neyen, which means air, in the Mapuzungun language. Very cool that they're using, like, a local indigenous language. We're seeing more and more of this in South American dinosaur paleontology, and it always makes me smile. Neyen, which means air in Mapuzungun, an allusion to the great pneumaticity of the new species. So yeah, it means, I guess, Campanas, air. Airy creature from Campanas. The specific epithet, fragilismus in Latin, means the most fragile, an allusion to the thin ilium. It's a very, very thin upper hip bone, this critter. Cool stuff. And holy cow, they've got some good material. A brain case, holy cow. Quadrate, another skull bone from the back of the skull. Posterior dorsal neural arch. So, part of one of the tops, one of the vertebrae in the neck. Partial sacral vertebra. No, sorry, dorsal neural arch. That's from the back, not the neck. Partial sacral vertebra, so one of the vertebrae from in the hips. A fragment of sacral neural spine, so one of the little spines that sticks up from those vertebrae in the hips. Posterior caudal vertebra, so a vert from near the back of the tail. A right ilium, upper hip bone. Fragments of the left ilium, and indeterminate fragments of ilium, ungual phalanx 1 and ungual phalanx 2. So they've got some finger bones as well. Very nice. Huh. The new Rebbachisaur described here is housed in the Museo Municipal Ernesto Bachmann, Villa El Chocón, Nequén, Argentina. Brain case preserved as 2 halves. This is really, really cool because sauropod skull material tends to be really, really rare. So getting any part of the skull of this animal is super exciting because Rebbachisaurs, sauropods in general, they tend to have this small, delicate head at the end of a very long neck, and it's very rare to get anything close to a complete skull. It's rare to get any skull material at all. There's a reason for that. Here, let me grab a sauropod skull right here, and we'll kind of talk about that. Yeah. Alright, here is a juvenile Diplodocus skull. My 3D print. That skull. And, sauropod skulls tend to be very lightly built because you've got this skull at the end of a very long neck. If you've got a big heavy skull, that's going to put a big strain on your neck. So these guys tend to have very lightly built skulls with these kind of thin, wispy, strappy bones like this, and then they've got a small occipital condyle right here. This is the kind of ball, you know, like a trailer ball at the back of the head that connects to the neck vertebrae. This connection seems to be pretty weak post-mortem, so the head would fall off after death, and then the head would just kind of explode after that oftentimes. All these different bones would disarticulate. They'd fall apart. Maybe meat-eating dinosaurs thought the head was a particularly tasty part and they liked tearing it up. Who really knows? The point is, the skull of a sauropod dinosaur like this is a rare find, because that's how these animals are built. Having a thin, kind of delicate skull is a big advantage for these critters. So, it leads to us not finding the skulls very often at all. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. So it's really exciting that they've got a brain case of this critter. And with the brain case, if it's well preserved enough, you can determine the size and shape of the brain and then maybe make some cool biological inferences about this animal. What angle did it hold its head at based on the shape of the semicircular canals in the inner ear? Did it have a good sense of smell? You know, stuff like that. But yeah. And Charlie's Dragon says, not explode as much as just fall apart. Well, I mean, that's our... We use the word explode oftentimes in paleontology. You know, explode doesn't have to be a dramatic, violent thing. Exploded can just mean disarticulated, you know? So, like, an exploded view of the skull doesn't mean kablooey. It could just mean the elements separated from one another, you know? Here. Visible interactive human exploding skull. So this is from Whitmer Lab, from the lab of Larry Whitmer, down in Athens, Ohio. We call this an exploded view when it's just... So explode doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, fireball. It could just mean, you know, it's come apart. Yeah. And abiding Ohm's law says exploded always implies dynamite. What do you say for C4 then? Or TNT? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, Charlie's Dragon. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about that. Yeah. Anywho. When I say that their skulls have a tendency to explode, I don't mean kablooey. I mean just, you know... Yeah. It might take months for it to fall apart. Could be a very gradual process. But it's still exploded, you know, the terminology that we use. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. So description, dorsal neural arch. A lot of this terminology I'm not going to be familiar with because I don't know a great deal about sauropod vertebral osteology. Like the anatomy of the vertebrae of sauropods is not one of my specialties. It's not an area of my expertise. But this is really cool. Yeah, and then there's a bunch of different sauropods that they're comparing this critter to. In this family tree that they put together. Oh, figures here. Beautiful. So this is the top part of one of the dorsal vertebrae. So, yeah, let's look at an Allosaurus vertebra right here for comparison. There we go. This is a 3D print of an Allosaurus vertebra. And I'll just name some of the different parts. You've got the centrum right here, which is the body of the vertebra. You've got the pre-zygapophyses, and then post-zygapophyses in the back. You have the transverse processes that come off to the sides, transverse, and then the neural spine right here. You can actually feel your own neural spines, although in humans they usually get called spinous processes.
And this is a dinosaur too.
Antonito, thank you for the follow. Welcome. First one there wasn't a dinosaur. Did anybody catch that? Dimetrodon? Anyway. Centrum, pre-zigs, post-zigs, transverse processes, and neural spine. You can feel your own neural spines. If you run your fingers up your neck like that, you feel those ridges? Those are your neural spines. They get called spinous processes in humans because everything in human anatomy's got to have a special name. It's the same thing. Neural spine, right here. And you're seeing that right here, too. You're seeing those transverse processes and the neural spine in the center. Yeah, and then we're seeing that right here with this vertebra. See the transverse processes and the neural spine. These are incomplete, but there we go. Sacral vertebrae, so these are some of the vertebrae from in the middle of the hips. And then what is this? Is this the ilium? What? Figure 6? No. Figure 6. There we go. That's the ilium? That's so scrungy. Holy cow. I can see why they're saying this animal is full of air, because it was. Look at that. Yeah. I wouldn't even recognize this as an ilium if I found that in the field. Be like, what in the world? Is this the acetabulum right here? Is this where the femur fits in? The femoral head? I think it is. Shoot. It's not shocking that this animal is highly pneumatized, but I've never seen an ilium like that. I guess because chunks of it are missing, you can see the inside. It really hammers home the point that this thing is super hollow. Yeah. Here we go. this is a figure I like to show off. So this is from a related sauropod. This is Diplodocus or Gallimiopus or Suacia or somebody. It's a diplodocid, so it's related to our new Rubacusaur that we're talking about. But I love showing this diagram because it shows just how pneumatized these guys were. Like, everything that you're seeing here in different shades of blue is air. This, like, highly saturated, like, electric blue here, those are air sacs in the torso. This darker, undersaturated blue are the lungs. And then this kind of powder blue, this light blue, are the pneumaticities in the vertebrae. So these air sacs and hollows. The ilium is right here. This is the upper hip bone right there. And you don't normally think of this as being shot through with air, highly pneumatized, hollow, air-filled. But in this new Rubacusaur, it totally is, which is really, really interesting. It does make me wonder how pneumatized the ilia are in some of these related sauropods, and if anybody's really looked at that before. Interesting. Very airy overall. Absolutely, Corsi. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah. Anyway, that's wild how hollow this thing is. Shoot. Okay, and there's the outline of the ilium. So this is the, front, back. There's the acetabulum, so that's where the femur fits in right here. You know, so that's what we're looking at right here. The ilium is this bone right there. Yeah. Very cool. And although not described here, the cranial remains of Campanean fragilismus show diagnostic features allowing us to differentiate it from other Rubacusaurids. I guess they're saving that brain case for another paper. They're going to be doing a follow-up paper where they're probably going to have somebody who specializes in dinosaur, like, neurocranial anatomy really take a detailed look at this and give it its own proper paper. That's going to be cool. Pretty neat. Then we've got those finger bones there. Oh, ungulate phalanx. So shoot, they've actually got the claw. So this is one of the finger claws. Yeah, nice. Two of the claws, rather. 1, 2. Because this is the same specimen, and this is another specimen. Very neat. And here's where it comes out. Sister taxon to Cytosaura in the family tree they generated. But pretty close to Zapalosaurus as well. Cool. Very cool. And there is that beautiful brain case. Very nice. Oh man, that is super rare to find that. This is exciting. I'm looking forward to follow-up paper about that. Very, very cool. And again, big shout out to the authors. Lead author Lucas and Leriso. Muchas gracias. Sending me the paper. I really appreciate that. Holy cow. Exciting stuff. And congratulations on a new sauropod dinosaur. Pretty neat. I'm not going to question the validity of this one. I don't know enough about sauropods to do that, so I'll just say thumbs up. Holy cow. Exciting stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyway, awesome. Now, with that being said, also in sauropod news, we've got a sauropod skeleton excavated recently that's garnering some media attention. After the end of yesterday's stream, I got some text messages from my mom. She's funny. I could talk about dinosaurs all day long, and, you know, she might not be super interested, but when she hears about a dinosaur on the news, she's super excited about it and wants to tell me all about it. And So yeah, let's pull up that news report if I can find it. There we go. Yeah. Here we go.
Well, it's a dinosaur recreation here in Los Angeles, bone by bone, and you haven't seen anything like it in about 150 million years.
In a National Geographic exclusive, Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay on how the discovery of the creature's remains are coming to life at a local museum.
The Natural History Museum is in...
I've been hearing about this for a while. There's been all kinds of rumors and gossip and even a few like kind of cagey social media posts about this in the paleontological community. It's cool that it's getting a lot of proper attention in popular media as well now. This is cool. Does anybody have any idea what kind of dinosaur this is? Maybe even what genus it might potentially be? Just looking at this right here. A non-avian dinosaur. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. It is for sure a diplodocid. Yeah. Corsi says definitely diplodocoid. Probably Diplodocus or Catadocus. Yeah. Could also potentially be Galeamopus. Or maybe Suacia. My instinct is just to say Diplodocus, though. So, ding, ding, ding. To everybody who said Diplodocus or anything similar, give yourselves a pat on the back. Yeah. And Caraya, not Brachiosaurus, but it did live at the same time and same place. Yeah. Welcome. It's good to have you here, Caraya. Howdy, howdy.
Introducing a new four-legged friend to Los Angeles, Natalie the dinosaur. And thanks to National Geographic, we are getting a sneak peek.
Natalie is a diplodocid dinosaur, which means that it walked on land, it ate plants, it was enormously long. It's almost 75 feet long, the skeleton itself. And it lived about 150 million years ago.
According to the Natural History Museum, dozens of folks from Los Angeles were part of the excavation of the long-necked dinosaur, and it took a village. Hundreds of paleontologists, researchers, and volunteers.
Not hundreds of paleontologists. There are not hundreds of paleontologists to work on something like we just don't have those kinds of numbers. There's not that many of us who work on dinosaurs in the U.S. There's maybe 200 dinosaur workers in the U.S. Maybe. Could be fewer. Yeah.
Which is why Natalie is being called the community dinosaur.
Natalie was found in the Badlands of Utah in 2007, so it's been almost 17 years putting Natalie together.
Diplodocid, scale neck, absolutely sharkbait, yes. Welcome.
That swarmed the team while digging up Natalie's bones.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jim Kirkland could have told them this. If you're going to be digging in June in Utah, you are going to be beset by gnats. That's why we usually wait till later in the season to do our field work. Like, you know, I was out there just until last week digging in eastern Utah. That's the reason why we start in July or later. We started July 16th this year. Anytime before then, like the whole month of June, gnats everywhere. And they're maddening, you know? So that's why they named this dinosaur Natalie. With a G, Gnatalie. Yeah.
In 2007, so it's been almost 17 years putting Natalie together.
The sauropod's name pokes fun at the biting gnats that swarmed the team while digging up Natalie's bones. The minerals in the riverbed where Natalie's fossils were found is what gives the dinosaur its green color.
And it's a subtle green, but it's green nonetheless. That might be feldspar.
Only green dinosaur on display in the world. About 80% of the dino on display is real. It's a composite of multiple dinosaurs, all belonging to the same species, weighing about 5 tons or as much as an RV.
Diplodocid dinosaurs have this huge, like very long tail. It's almost like a whip. We don't know for sure, but scientists speculate they may have used that whip-like tail for defense or may have used it for balance.
From
And shoot, let me show you a quick video on that. Like, how do you go about testing a hypothesis like that? Whiptails and diplodocid dinosaurs? Well, for one thing, you can, oh goodness. Where's that video? You can actually construct a physical model. So Nathan Myhrvold, who, used to be, I think, the CFO or CTO, some executive from the C-suite at Microsoft. He's also very interested in dinosaurs. And he helped construct this physical model of a Diplodocus tail. Here's a link to a little podcasting on Scientific American about it. There we go. Nathan Myhrvold builds robo-tail to show dinosaurs could create whip-crack and sonic booms. Here we go. That's the video I was trying to find. Yeah. The physical model. Here we go. So it's constructed a lot like a whip, in this team's estimation. Yeah. And here's the actual paper. Nathan Myhrvold and Phil Curry. There we go. So they constructed that model. Pretty cool. Really neat, right? Yeah. Filmed at 6,000 to 8,000 frames per second using a high-speed camera. Check that out. It does kind of raise the question, what is the end of the tail made of in order to be able to not tear itself apart from repeated whip cracking like that? If this is, it's a flesh and blood animal, what is going on at the end of the tail to prevent it from just completely disintegrating, Yeah, not feathers. We don't have any evidence of feathers in any sauropodomorphs yet. But check that out. Yeah. Very cool. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Holy cow, is that cool. Anyway, here's a link to this. You want to take a look? Did you find the same one, Claire? Did you just whip that command together real quick? That's awesome. Yeah, and then here's a dramatic depiction of this. From I guess you could call it a documentary. What is this called? Dinosaur Revolution? There's an allosaur. Diplodocus. Yeah. Watch out. Not somebody you want to mess with. Oh, sorry, that's Dinhyrosaurus? I forgot. I've not ever actually seen this documentary all the way through. But this is like a European equivalent to Diplodocus, basically. Oof. Yowza. Oof. And I think that Allosaurus survives that encounter in the... Again, I haven't seen this all the way through, but I'm pretty sure he survives that. He's just got a kind of a crooked lower jaw for the rest of his days. Anyway, interesting stuff. But yeah, whip-like tail. You know, we're not kidding when we say that.
Weighing about 5 tons, or as much as an RV.
Diplodocid dinosaurs have this huge, like very long tail. It's almost like a whip. We don't know for sure, but scientists speculate they may have used that whip-like tail for defense, or may have used it for balance.
From 2007, the
both.
bones have
It's
gone
also
through
good
a
for muscle
lengthy,
attachment.
painstaking excavation, as featured in the September issue of National Geographic. Nat Geo's exclusive on the reconstructed dino can be found at natgeo.com. Plus,
we'll take a look at that too.
Free for the public to come in and see Natalie and see all the information.
And Crimson Carnotaurus says, is it Sid or Kid with Diplodocid? I say Diplodocid, and most of the sauropod researchers that I know say Diplodocid, but some people say Diplodocid as well. It's tomato potato, you know? As long as people know what you're talking about, it doesn't really matter. As paleontologists, we really can't be snobs about pronunciation for a lot of things. For Diplodocus itself, you know, I say Diplodocus, other people say Diplodocus. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, as long as people know what you're talking about.
Informational displays we've set up about her excavation, the preparation, and the installation of this amazing creature.
And hang on, that looks awful familiar there. Is that Dippy's skull that they're using? I think it is. I think that is Dippy's skull, which I am currently 3D printing. Here. Hold on a second. So, I'm printing these parts. You know, it's been cut down the sagittal plane, right here, so right down the middle. But yeah, upper jaw, lower jaw, right there. Again, it's missing this half of it over here. But yeah, that is that really looks like it right there. Very nice. I'm currently printing the animal's left side of her snoot right now. But hopefully by the end of the week, or maybe midway through next week, we'll see. I will have full 3D printed Dippy skull. You can find the files online for free. And it's interesting that they seem to be using that skull for their Diplodocid model, their Diplodocid mount. Here's that file, by the way. Thank you, Natural History Museum in London, for making these files available. There is the link. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure... It's gotta be. Yeah. Yeah, that skull itself is actually composite. Most of it is from a Diplodocid that's now known as Gallimiopus. But it's a composite of, I think, Carnegie Museum material and Smithsonian material, too. The original Dippy skull. So, the original one is very much outdated, but it's very familiar to the public, which is probably why they're using it. Anyway, Celeste, how are you doing? And Foxy Full, hello, hello. And we'd love to see the real one someday. The real one is at the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. I'm hopefully going to Pittsburgh at some point this coming winter or next spring, we'll see. Yeah. Anyhow, let's continue. Let's finish up this
And you
video.
can visit Natalie here at the Natural History Museum starting on November 17th.
Hello,
Nice.
I'm Mark Brown. Get more.
Hi, Mark Brown. Thanks for your video. Let's take a look at this one.
What is 75 feet long, green, and older than a T-Rex? Well, meet Natalie, believed to be a whole new species of dinosaur. Scientists have spent the past decade painstakingly putting this 150-million-year-old giant back together. And National Geographic cameras documented the entire process.
Well, this is a 150-million-year-old dinosaur, right? So I think you expect not to be in perfect shape, and it isn't. If you look at some of the tail vertebrae here, you're going to see that some of the spines are a little twisted, they're a little
Oh, and I love these like specimen tag labels right there. I actually have some of these on the wish list because I would love to be able to get some of these for some upcoming projects. So if anybody is feeling generous, it's on the wish list.
They're somewhat deformed.
Wow, and I'm joined now by Dr. Nate Smith. He's the director of the Dinosaur Institute at the LA Natural History Museum, where Natalie will soon be on display. Dr. Smith, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I love that you're living the dream, because every kid dreams of being a paleontologist. Here you are, studying dinosaurs. But let's start with her color. Why is she green?
Yeah, the color comes from a lot of the mineralogy, and those are much more common. What makes Natalie that green color is a mineral called selatonite, which got concentrated kind of after it was originally fossilized, and that mineral replaced some of the minerals that were already there.
And she was found in the Badlands, right, of Utah?
Yeah, so the southeast corner of Utah, near a tiny little town called Bluff, a really scenic and beautiful part of the United States.
And this is like breaking news in the world of dinosaurs. You're calling this a whole new species. Tell us more about that.
Right, so some of our researchers are in the...
Rory, my heart, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here.
Working that up right now. That kind of takes time when you're...
And Rex Radon, we've got a channel in the Discord where you can post a picture if you want. And then maybe somebody can provide me a link.
Going to erect and name a new species.
Yeah.
But it looks like nothing kind of quite fit with the previously described large, long-necked sauropods from this area. And it kind of is what we might call an in-betweener from a couple of other species. So that's made the find even more exciting.
Take us through the process.
Interesting. I want to hear that again. Hang on. Something that seems to kind of have a melange of characteristics from known sauropods. I wonder if it could be like part of an anagenetic lineage, perhaps.
But it looks like nothing kind of quite fit with the previously described large, long-necked sauropods from this area. And it kind of is what we might call an in-betweener from a couple of other species. So that's made the find even more exciting.
Take us through the process of excavation to creating this exhibit.
That's totally Dippy's skull right there. They're using Dippy's skull for this. That's awesome. Oh man, I'm printing this right now as we speak. That is so exciting. Shoot, it's the same thing. Yeah, there we go. Just gotta mirror it. That's totally her. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a colossal task, as you can imagine. And in some ways, the funnest part of it is the easiest, finding and starting to excavate those bones. What we give a lot of credit to is our technicians and preparator staff here at the Dinosaur Institute and the NHM, because it takes hundreds and thousands of hours to actually excavate these bones from the surrounding rock or matrix.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really the limiting factor for us to bring these giants back to life.
And I envision you in an Indiana Jones hat out there excavating away. And I understand that Natalie will go on display this fall. And you had folks vote on her name, and she is Nat Ali for a reason.
That's right. It's Natalie with a G. And that's a shout out to in the early days of the work at this quarry. The field crew was just relentlessly pestered by flying gnats and biting gnats.
Once she goes on display, what...
So that's the thing. If you're going to be working out there in June in Utah, digging up dinosaurs, you need some way to deal with the gnats. Jim Kirkland always recommends this. I think it might be from like a multimedia or multi-level marketing thing, but anyway, he swears by this. Avon Skin So Soft as gnat repellent. I don't think it actually attracts mosquitoes, but it ever work against mosquitoes? He swears it works against gnats. But another potential way to keep the gnats away, if you have to be there during gnat season, is these. Like a big industrial floor fan. The Hanksville Burpee crew, or rather crews that work at the Hanksville Burpee Quarry near Hanksville, Utah. They run generators at their site in order to be able to power these enormous fans that they use to just, you know, they point these toward the outcrop, and then that keeps the gnats away. It's just too much wind for the gnats. And it seems to work fairly well. Yeah. Here we go. Hanksville Burpee Dinosaur Quarry. I wonder if we'll see... This is probably later in the summer where they probably don't have to worry about gnats. This is probably July or August. But very cool. I visited this site a number of times. And there's just enormous sauropod bones all over the place. Oh, shoot. You see right there? That was it. That's one of the fans that they use. Yeah. It's funny, with the frame rate of the camera, it doesn't look like it's blowing that fast, but that's just probably based on the shutter speed of the camera. But yeah, so that's one way to keep the gnats down. The Los Angeles crew, they did some amazing stuff there, but I'm sure they could still use some pointers. I wonder if they had anybody from Utah working there. Because, you know, you always want to talk to the locals, see what tips and tricks they have. Because, you know, they know that area, and you might learn a lot from them. And Foxy Phil's Dippy's replica is touring the UK at the moment. They aren't in London anymore. A Camarasaurus is in its place for now. Interesting. Camarasaurus. Very cool. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. An interesting Claire bird. That's cool. Anyway, let's finish this video out right here.
Will visitors,
there we go.
Folks, vote on her name, and she is Nat Ali for a reason.
That's right. It's Natalie with a G, and that's a shout out to in the early days of the work at this quarry. The field crew was just relentlessly pestered by flying gnats and biting gnats.
Once she goes on display, what will visitors to your august museum get to do when they see the new exhibit?
Well, Natalie is very much a community dinosaur, right? It was excavated by a community of folks over
it's totally Dippy
more than
skull.
a dozen years, including students, volunteers, researchers from around the world.
I wonder if that skull is a just temporary thing for the time being. Because at the Carnegie Museum, that has the actual holotype of Diplodocus carnegii, they've got a more up-to-date skull. There we go. Oh, there's Matt Wadle right there, sauropod researcher. I recognize him. But yeah, so their skull looks different. It's got kind of an upturned, bent to the premax right there. Yeah. They've actually modified theirs a bit. There we go. Yeah. I wonder if they'll end up... maybe this is an exclusive thing for Pittsburgh. And maybe the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History can't get a hold of this, a cast of this, but if they can, they should. Because it is more up-to-date than the old Dippy skull. But anyway, yeah. For right now, they've got They've got the old one on there.
In a dozen years, including students, volunteers, researchers from around the world. It's from BLM.
Very cool solar panel. I heard about that, yeah.
And it'll be part of a new display in our new NHM Commons Community Center. So everyone will be able to come and see Natalie for free and learn the story about basically what we call a ground to mount. So everything that took place from finding, excavating, preparing, studying, and then ultimately putting on display this giant dinosaur.
There's another dinosaur fossil that will not be on public display because recently Apex, the largest stegosaurus ever found, was sold to a private collector for nearly $45 million. So how do you feel about these rare specimens being out of public view and out of reach for researchers?
It's a challenge, and there's a lot of controversy and debate over it. One of the things a lot of us in the paleontological community are hopeful for is that the bidder that purchased Apex has a long history of working with natural history museums and putting those specimens on display and doing a lot of paleontological and museum educational outreach. So
But that's very, very different from being able to actually work on the specimen. In order to be able to publish on a dinosaur, it has to be reposited in a museum. It has to, like, be permanently a part of that museum's collection. You know, if something is some guy's personal property, then it can't be published on. So scientifically, like, it doesn't exist, basically. If that guy wants to donate it to a museum and get a $40 million tax write-off or whatever, then fantastic, you know, that's great. But it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. So I guess we'll see.
Our hope is that Apex won't be lost forever to the public and to researchers.
And of course, we all hope that everyone will swarm to go see Natalie. Thank you, Dr. Smith, so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time, and we're looking forward to having everybody out here in the fall.
And we know that Natalie will make her public debut at the LA Natural History Museum this November.
Maybe I'll have to go visit. If I can get a real cheap flight down to LA, I just might do that. Check out that dinosaur in person. I should start thinking about that. I've got a wild planet. That would be neat. If I could do a stream from there, that'd be pretty awesome. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, cool stuff. There's a National Geographic article all about this. There we go. How to bring a 75-foot-long dinosaur back to life. A team of scientists and artists transformed a jumble of bones entombed in tons of rock into a towering dinosaur that will leave visitors to LA's Natural History Museum wonderstruck. This is a lovely article. I had an opportunity to look at this briefly right before I started the stream. But, really cool stuff. And we've got some photos of the dig site that show that, man, they tried, but, you know, they could have used some pointers, I suppose. Using blue tarps. Blue tarps. Why?
It's a paleontologist version of heaven.
And Durf on Turf, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Good to have you here. Here, I gotta put on my Dawn to Blue Tarpology hat. There you go, Pyro Kitty, yeah. They didn't take Tarpology 101. They should have. Yeah. Here's the... Dawn to Blue gave me this. As a, professor of tarpology himself. He's very passionate about this kind of thing. And he would not stand for this. Blue tarps. No. No. Yeah. There we go. Tarpology 501. Advanced shade tarp techniques for paleontological field excavations. Strategies for field paleontology on a warming planet. Dawn to Blue, Jim Kirkland, both of whom I worked with this summer. Scott Madsen from the Utah Geological Survey. So yeah. So the Natalie crew is working down here, I think. I want to say they're on this side of the Colorado. Maybe they were over here. But anyway, must have been really hot there. Yeah, it gets really, really hot. It could be over 110 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. So, you want to avoid things like dehydration, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, skin cancer. You need to provide shade at your quarries in order to keep your crew happy and healthy. And also, even lighting is important too. That's why blue tarps are a huge no-no. No colored tarps. There we go. Must be a neutral color, white, gray, or black. But blue tarps, you do not want that. Yeah. And Lenina says, as someone who works with color, I fully understand the need for nice, even lighting. Yeah. Yeah. Useful knots to have. Good stuff. So yeah, if Don DeBlue had been on that crew,
let's protect our
he could have set him straight.
If they're removed,
there's Jim right there.
Forever.
Rex Radon, thank you for subscribing. Hey, I really appreciate that. Tip my hat to you. Thank you very, very much for that pledge of ongoing support. Rex Radon, thank you for helping make these streams possible. Put food on my table. Appreciate you. This is actually how I make my living, believe it or not. Doing science outreach streams here on Twitch. So thank you for yeah, thanks for helping keep me off the streets. Appreciate you. Anyway, if you would like to take a look at this presentation, there you go. Rex Radon says, Dino people are my people. Well, thanks for being here. Yeah. Anyway, there's a link in the chat to this presentation. And it looks like that's something that these folks could have really benefited from. Yeah. You know, we'll probably take a look at most of this later. Maybe tomorrow. But yeah, we're 3.5 hours into the stream. And I've got some stuff I got to take care of this evening. I've got some emails I got to send. I've got some things I got to check on. I need to go check on my Diplodocus skull print as well, that Dippy skull. So we managed to get through 3 new dinosaurs today. I think we might have 2 more tomorrow. And there is a chance that tomorrow will be our last stream of the week, too. I might be doing some excavating on Friday. We shall see. So we'll see if I return in time to have a stream on Friday. Tomorrow could be our last stream of the week. We'll find out. But yeah. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap things up here, shall we? Let's see who else is live on Twitch at the moment. Let's see. You know, let's go say hello to Casey Snow Art. Is doing some dragon art based on morphology of actual lizards, it looks like. Isn't today National Lizard Day? World Lizard Day? Something like that? I think it's supposed to be. Anybody else hear that? Let's go celebrate with Casey Snow Art. He's not only a wonderful artist and broadcaster, but also a loyal moderator here on Paleontologizing. You're not going to want to miss this. She's got some cool stuff going on. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, everybody.
Come here to fight monsters. We came here to find fossils.
Classical Gas. I know that guitar song. Thank you for following. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah, sneaking that in right under the wire. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody whose names are appearing in our credits right now. subscribers and resubscribers, new followers and old followers, chatters and lurkers, moderators. Thank you for everything that you do. Especially Claire working on all those videos and VODs and everything. Really appreciate that, Claire. Check out the YouTube page if you want to see some of Claire's hard work. And thank you to everybody who supports the stream financially. I could not do this without your financial support, so thank you very, very much for that. Anyway, without further ado, let's go check out Casey Snowart, shall we? All right. I'll see you there, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow, too. Take care.